Assalamualaikum ji. Welcome back to another episode of Kahe, Kazi. My guest today was Sajeer Shaikh. Sajeer Shaikh is the social media manager and content writer for Mango Bars, or content editor for Mango Bars. She is also a journalist in training. We get to speaking about the multiple taboos around the women's movement, about the nature of empowerment, about the nature of content creation, about propriety, about growing in stature, in knowledge, about learning about mental health being what it is, about understanding the landscape that we exist in Pakistan, about trolls, about content creation, about managing clout, about being able to digest clout. Enjoy. 3, 2, 1. Sajeer Shaikh. How you doing, Sajeer?
I'm doing good. This is a really dumb question, but where am I supposed to look?
Talk to me, dude.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just talk to me. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah. You were explaining to me how you are the last bastion of mango bars in Karachi.
Yes. I think I've always just been one of the few people in mango bars jo Karachi mein hai. So just for some context about what Mango Bars does, we're a digital media publication. We've been around since 2015, I want to say. I think jab Mango Bars aaya tha, everyone's like, oh, this is like Desi BuzzFeed.
Right.
And I guess to an extent it is.
Sure, and why is that bad? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what we did. We started off by doing... so there was this idea कि आपके जो celebrities हैं ना, वो आपके celebrities नहीं होते, ठीक है? And for the longest time, your politicians were celebrities, right? And that made the news a lot. And we were like, why is our entertainment side why is there no one talking... Not that you should talk about it all the time, but why is no one really kind of talking about YouTubers and now TikTokers and whatnot. So us tarah ka content banana shuru kiya. A lot of the pieces were very narrative based as well, and I think we've pushed out some brilliant narratives. When I joined, we started doing a lot of feminist narratives this waqt. We started talking about menstruation.
You can't say that.
We started talking about menstruation. We started talking about lots of taboo topics, and yeah, that's what Mango Bars did, and now I feel sort of blended into the background. I hope my boss doesn't fire me for saying this, but it is what it is, and we're just trying to survive the pandemic right now.
Well, yeah, everyone is, I think. Allah Rahim Karega. But I think, अच्छा तो मेरे एक उस्ताद थे Malaysia में, Dr. Com McNaughton, and he would often remark, he's like, the goal is always to become obsolete, right? So I would argue if Mango Bars has played this role in starting these conversations, तो काम तो हो गया ना. अब तो ये करना है, अब तो just go on to the next thing, whatever it is, inshallah.
Yeah.
Speaking about feminist narratives generally, and menstruation or female physiology in particular.
Yeah.
What was the response like?
So it's been very interesting, right? पहले जब हमने करने शुरू किए थे, तो a lot of people shat on it, and I mean obviously जब आप एक नई vocabulary लेकर आते हो, when you're talking about menstruation and feminism, and these are seen to be Western concepts,
yes.
And there is a rejection of those ideas generally, which is also, by the way, very paradoxical, because we worship Goras when they come here, but we also reject the West a lot.
Yeah.
But when we started talking about this, तब तो था कि ये क्या अभी भी होता है कि ये क्या बातें कर रहे हो, and why are you talking? A lot of people equate menstruation with something sexual, which it's not, by the way. There is nothing sexual about menstruation. I don't know how. This is the number one rebuttal, right? कि boys will be like, why don't you talk about wet dreams? That's not the same thing.
No, it's not.
I'm so.
No,
okay.
it's absolutely not the same thing. No.
But
is that the number one rebuttal?
Yeah. And they also at a certain point in time we were called period bars for the longest time, which I don't mind, by the way. I think it's fine. But I think the conversation over the course of these 6 years has changed to the point कि अब जब वो comments आती हैं तो there is also like कि यार why are you here reading this if you don't like if
there's
you're not
pushback.
Yeah, there's pushback, which is great.
Beautiful. Yes.
And similarly like जैसे हमने जब Me Too के बारे में बात करनी शुरू की थी, initially it was like you know there was a rejection and like like false accusations and whatnot, but now there's always a pushback, which is great. I feel
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
आखिर में आपका काम educate करना ही है. One would hope कि to some degree at least you're making a dent in our societal psyche. तो अच्छा देखो, मेरी personal journey भी कुछ ऐसी ही रही है unfortunately. I have just now at the tender age of 28 fully grasped what periods are.
Okay.
Or what menstruation is, right?
Okay.
Because it's just a reality that women exist with, and men are just not supposed to be bothered by it. Supposed to, right?
Yeah.
Or just, देखो, I can never completely understand what it feels like, right? But just using normal words to explain to me and everyone else, every other man who's listening, कि यार होता क्या है?
Okay.
सिर्फ ये आप नहीं अब तो मुझे पता है अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, लेकिन कि सिर्फ होता क्या है. आई थिंक दैट वेंट अ लॉन्ग वे विद मी कि भाई एक मिनट आप बैठो. दिस इज नॉट एन अफ्रंट टू योर मैनलीनेस. दिस इज ऑल्सो नॉट गोइंग टू फ्रैक्चर प्रोप्राइटी. इट्स जस्ट स्टफ यू नीड टू नो.
Yeah. The thing is that जब हमें सिखाया गया था ना, when we very interestingly, I don't know if this happens in every school, but a doctor came in like when we were all in grade 5, because that is usually the age where you start.
स्कूल में जाती थी डॉक्टर आया आपको पढ़ाने से?
नहीं वो आते थे like ऐसे हम now that I remember, like it seems like such a like fever dream with these weird Americans. Like they would come, they would perform for charity, I assume, but nobody paid them, and I'm just like, why were they there? They taught us about road safety and like driving at a safe distance, but we were all 10. Like,
what school were you in? What is going on here?
I don't know. And then we had like canteens where some like Shehzad Roy would pop. I'm like, who is paying these people? Like,
I still want to know what school this was.
CJM, Conrad Jason Mary.
That's a good school.
It is a good school. I just don't take names of schools anymore because I if I end up saying something, I don't want any lawsuits. Like अब बहुत लोग मतलब सुनने लगे, and like I just don't want any. And like the thing is, my family has always had like a very friendly relationship with like so my mom's Christian.
Okay.
And she is like मतलब ardent, like वो church हर Sunday जाती हैं.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
And so we have like a really nice relationship with all the sisters and like the mothers and whatnot, and the priests, for instance. We're hosting one tomorrow like for dinner.
Inshallah.
And yeah, and so it's very I feel like bad criticizing CGM because it feels like यार अपनी अम्मी के बारे में कुछ बोल रहे हो, because like Sister Mary is like, you know, like she was our principal and she's like, I love her, but there's a lot to criticize there as well.
Really?
Yes, of course. Like I mean, it was an all-girls school.
Okay.
Which comes with its own set of toxicity.
Sure.
And what I'd never understood about it, and what I still don't understand, is the rivalry that existed between the teachers and the students. Like, how are you going to be a 30-40-year-old woman with beef like with a 15-year-old? Like, I never got that concept. And
all the teachers were sisters, so none of them ever
no. The principal was only a nun. Baki sare like matlab chilling
normal
log the, but they always had beef with the children. Like, I'm like, how do you, like, why? Because I didn't come to you for tuition, you're gonna fail me? Like, yeah, like so petty. But khair, I'm
serious hota ja raha hai yahan pe bhai.
Yeah. Dialing it back to that one class that we had, a doctor came in, and like, so this is a great opportunity for the guys to learn. So CGM is co-ed till grade 5, and then uske baad 6 onwards aapko separate kar diya jata hai.
Okay.
So I think that grade 5 it's a great opportunity to have this conversation with the boys as well. Will they understand? Probably not. ठीक है. But इस तरह करते थे, वो लड़कों को निकाल देते थे क्लास से. आप जाओ गेम्स खेलो और लड़कियों के बारे. And obviously you create this thing, right? This mystery, this like, oh, we're not supposed to listen to this. And हमें भी like मतलब इतने open words में नहीं बताया गया था. Like जब उन्होंने मुझे बताया था, I still didn't know what a period was. Like I came back confused. I was like I don't know what she's saying. Like, will I start like growing hair? Like, I was confused. पता नहीं क्या सिखा के गई थी. But and not to say that wasn't a good doctor, but that's just the vocabulary that we didn't have at that time. Right?
That was just the vocabulary she had available to her.
Yeah, and like I feel like it's such a great time to learn about this, because those conversations are already happening within you and your friends, right? Like that's the time when everyone is hitting puberty and you're just like, okay, I don't know what to do about this. I can't have this conversation with at home. So who am I supposed to have this conversation with?
Sure.
And so you have that conversation with your friends. But I think it's such a missed opportunity in terms of educating kids on what actually happens. Don't get into the biology of it if you think they won't understand, but एक overview तो दे दो कि ये होगा, ये आपने करना है, and just be aware of this and don't demonize it
Don't
so much.
demonize it. And my concern has always been, or at least up full retroactively मुझे बुरा लगा है for the last 27 years of my life, कि यार देखो मुझे नहीं बताओ physiology, मुझे नहीं बताओ ये क्यों होता है, मुझे सिर्फ तकलीफ का बता देते.
हाँ.
मुझे सिर्फ ये बता देते कि uncomfortable होता है and that she might, you know, need help from me. Instead of me poking fun at why, you know, there's blood stains on her shalwar kameez.
Exactly.
It's just
exactly.
that much, right?
Firstly, I think we as a nation need to get over the fact that there's going to be a blood stain on some random child's kameez once in a while. It's fine. It's
all
a
right.
blood stain.
It's all right, yeah.
Yeah, like...
If anything, take care of her.
Exactly. Ask her if she needs something. Ask her if she's in pain, because most likely she is. Ask her if she's uncomfortable, confused. These are all emotions associated with this, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that we've demonized it, it's just ridiculous to me. Like, obviously, I have run out of patience talking about this for the last 6 years.
I think you should, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
this
मुझे
is not the time for
जब
patience.
कोई comment करता है कि why don't you talk about sex? Like, I'm sorry, like, I'll talk about that in sex positivity भी हो सकती है, that's fine. But like, let me talk about this right now. Like,
what do they want you to talk about sex positivity for?
मतलब वही ना कि like equating this to being something sexual. It's not. It's like वो एक misconception है जो मैं address करके थक गई हूँ कि like नहीं, I cannot talk about your dick when I am talking about like bleeding through, like, you know, like I'm not going to talk about that. That's a separate conversation for another day. If you want to have it, go have it in your meme groups, whatever. But like, if this is a serious issue, because it's not just the fact that it's demonized, right? When you don't talk about menstruation, you don't talk about menstrual disorders.
No.
And there are so many.
Yes.
मतलब मुझे खुद जब मैं एक piece लिख रही थी तब जाके I researched on them, and like you can have irregular periods, you can't have your period at all, and that and what your body is essentially doing is cleansing itself, right? Like when it's getting rid of stuff, it's preparing your uterus for a lot of stuff, and when that doesn't happen, that leads to a lot of serious disorders.
Yeah.
अगर हम इस पे अटके हुए हैं कि oh, period is a bad thing and we can't talk about it, then how the fuck are we going to talk about the disorders?
Yeah, देखो, how are we going to talk about anything is a problem because we don't have the language for anything, or language se zyada we also don't have the patience for it.
Exactly.
We're not open to learning anyone else's language.
Yeah.
Jaise, even these people who tell you to talk about sex and all those things, the thing is, most of our education about sex comes from porn.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Which is tantamount, मैंने पहले ही बोला, which is tantamount to watching Jurassic Park and being like, that's an apt description of reality.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, Transformers or something.
Yeah.
Right? So the problem is, even those people, they don't understand anything. They hear vagina and they immediately think, oh, sex.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
We're overstimulated, we're underexposed as people, especially as men, but really as people. बहुत सारी ख़वातीन के साथ भी ये मसला है, where every time I say period or menstruation or vagina or penis, these are not bad words.
Yeah.
This is... So, okay. So, part of what I wanted to do, or what I did in university was linguistics, philosophy of linguistics, epistemology and philosophy of linguistics. तो उसमें ये था कि every word has, or most words are charged with sentiment as well. But they have a descriptive function.
Okay.
Right? And then they have a sentimental function, which in the case of slurs is a derogatory function, which in the case of compliments is like a complementary function, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, we forget and we move away from the fact that a lot of these words are descriptive. Do you know? Like, it doesn't mean anything. It's just that a female has a certain part on her body that needs to be taken care of a certain way. Like, अब इसमें आप मुझे यार पता नहीं, अल्लाह रहम करेगा, अल्लाह हमें हिदायत देगा इंशाल्लाह और सब्र देगा थोड़ा सा कि हम बैठ के ये गुफ्तगू कर सकें. But अच्छा, so most of the response to talk about menstruation is कि भाई give in the same amount of due to men, or to just talk about sex? Like,
It's just sexualizing menstruation. If I
cool.
have to summarize it,
yeah.
it's either sexualizing menstruation or don't talk about this, you know? Or why are you talking about this so much? If I am putting out 2 articles a month on menstruation, if that, I think that's not nearly enough.
No, it's absolutely not, because matlab, you have to also consider how many people are reading those articles. Mango Buzz has a huge following, but phir bhi, what's it called? How many articles are you putting out on the whole, like generally?
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to do some math.
Generally, एक महीने में.
मुझे math करनी पड़ेगी ना.
अच्छा, math
Let's see. 4 a day.
4 a day.
4 into 30. 120 articles.
120 आर्टिकल.
Yeah.
उसमें से सिर्फ 2 menstruation के बारे
Yeah,
में.
like if वही ना, like अगर हम लोग 120 articles निकाल रहे हैं उनमें 2 menstruation के बारे में.
That's
and
not
then,
even 2%.
Exactly. And वो भी we've had to dial back a lot, right? Like there's so many things that you, just by talking about them, just by writing about them, just by initiating those conversations, you end up normalizing, right? And the fact that we're still struggling with this, is insane to me, because like I'm happy that there's pushback, of course. I'm really happy about that. But it's still a little surprising that we're still struggling with this, because it's so normal. Like, you know, like eventually I feel like women develop a superpower where they just know when they're going to start their period, and it becomes so normal. Like, I'll be sleeping and like रात के 3 बज रहे होंगे, and my body will know, like my body will be, get the fuck up, you need to go to the bathroom, and I will go, and like bus, like that's it, like you know, that's about it. And it's such a normal thing for me, but like to kind of not have that like male perspective where it's not normal, it's so that's what's
Abnormal,
weird for me. Yeah. You know,
मुझे एक, so I have 2 sisters, alhamdulillah, wonderful, powerful women, and फिर वही वाली बात है कि sometimes मुझे सिर्फ अपने ऊपर ये कोफ्त होती है कि यार, so if I'm 28, right, alhamdulillah, one of my sisters is 27, the other one's younger. This much of my life spent just not having that dimension of understanding for my own blood, for my own kin.
Yeah.
You know, for what? Because मुआशरे ने बोला कि यार ये जो होता है ना, ये जो होती है ना बेहुदा बातें होती है यार, खुदा क्या होता है यार, मुझे तो कुछ भी नहीं पता है.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a beautiful thing. How did you get into this though? You always wanted to be a writer?
Yeah. So I always wanted to. Okay, I'm so tired of telling the story, but like because even like if I put this on my Instagram, people will be like, ये इसके पास कोई कहानी नहीं है बताने की. मैं literally इतनी दफा बता चुकी हूँ. But I've always wanted to write. ठीक है. At the age of 8, I started writing poetry, and I think very few people know this, but at the age of 10, I had published a book. Okay? And
wow, okay.
Yeah, and it wasn't a good book; it was a book.
Yeah.
Okay? And I remember there was this huge ceremony, and like Anita Ghulam Ali was there, and like my principal came, and you know Professor Rais Alvi and all these people, and it was a huge thing, obviously for a kid, and it didn't register at that point in time, and I still never talk about the book because it's a bad book. Like it was like I wrote it when I was 10.
So you're not going to tell me what it's called?
It's called Dewdrops. Dewdrops.
Dewdrops.
Yeah, it has 51 poems in it, and that's about it. Like they're not great poems; they're just a 10-year-old writing.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But so that happened, and I thought, you know, in my mind, because now we have to understand we're in a Pakistani society, and यहाँ पे आपको डॉक्टर बनना होता है, आपको इंजीनियर बनना होता है,
या लॉयर.
एग्जैक्टली, या लॉयर बनना होता है, एंड अगर आप वो नहीं बन रहे हो तो यू आर एसेंशली अ डिसअपॉइंटमेंट. And so I thought that having done this, you know, and my parents were like, oh, like our daughter is a writer, they would be like, कि हाँ कर लो, मतलब, and
writing
then,
ही कर लो.
हाँ, writing ही कर लो. And then, you know, over the years, they were like, इसमें scope नहीं है, ये नहीं है. And I was like, they're joking, right? Like, because I published a book. They must be joking. And then eventually one day, my mom was like, yeah, but the book didn't make any money, right? So I was like, did you guys sell it? I'm 10. What do I know about selling a fucking book? Like, so, खैर, अब eventually मैं O levels कर लिया, and मजाक में science भी कर लिया, because my parents were like, no, like, you know, अभी कर लो, बाद में देखेंगे.
Sure, yeah.
And then A levels में भी science कर लिया मैंने, and they're like, अभी कर लो, बाद में देखेंगे. And then suddenly I was in med school and, and I was like, wait, what? And I remember so vividly the first day of med school. I still remember who was sitting in front of me. I still remember kaun si class ho rahi thi. I lost it. Okay, so I'm not going to name the teacher and I'm not going to name the subject, but this is a person in the administration who is also a huge teacher. And she comes and the first question she asks, the first day of med school, what is life? And I'm like, oh shit, like
philosophy, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, life is this and that. She's like, no, life is just like the period of time between you're born and you die. And I was like, wait, what? And then she's like, yeah, that's about it. And then she's like, what are the functions of the heart? And the heart makes you smile. And I was like, it's an aortic pump, right? Like this is ये तो biology में भी पढ़ा था हमने.
Auntie, आप कहाँ से आ रही हैं?
And I'm like,
आप क्या कर रही हैं?
Yeah, and I was so confused, and I remember thinking, this cannot be the rest of my life. Like इतनी कोई crazy anxiety set in हुआ. I was like, this cannot be the rest of my life. So then I was like, let's see, right? 2 साल गुजारे मैंने वहाँ पे. पहले साल के बाद I was like, मैं कर ही नहीं सकती. मैंने दूसरे साल जाना छोड़ दिया. There was a very lax attendance policy. Nobody really cared. So I didn't go. I think पूरे उस साल I must have gone for a total of 30 days.
Oh, beautiful, yes.
Yeah, scattered here and there, attendance लगाने के लिए. And when I went, I was a good friend also. मैं जब जाती थी, मैं सबकी attendance लगा के आती थी. Yeah. So
there's a code, honor amongst thieves.
Exactly. So and खैर दूसरा साल हो गया, and I remember पहले साल के बाद मैं अपना एग्जाम दे के आई थी. मैं अपनी सप्ली दे के आई थी because obviously I failed also.
Yes.
तो मैं सप्ली दे के आई थी and
obviously I failed. Obviously I failed.
Yeah. So I remember I turned to my dad. I was like, I'm not doing this, and he's like, okay, we'll see. And then we passed by Zabist once because my friend used to live near Zabist. And I was like, you see this? I'm going to come here one day and do journalism. And he's just like, okay, bullshit. And then second year, मुझे obviously दोबारा supply लेनी थी. I just didn't go for the exam. I was like, fuck this, I'm not doing this. And by that time, around med school के पहले साल में, I joined Mango Bars part-time. So as I joined part-time, I was just writing.
What year was this?
This was 2015.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So October 2015, I joined part-time and I was like, कि यार कुछ तो कर लेना चाहिए ना. मतलब मैं अपनी ज़िंदगी यहाँ पे गवा रही हूँ and whatnot. So I joined and I started writing, and it was the only thing that got me through med school. I was like, I joke about it, but I was depressed. I lost around 20-25 kgs. I stopped eating. I genuinely like, मतलब I was skeletal, and it was, and the funny thing about weight also is that when you're a fat kid and you lose weight, people are like, mashallah, kitni achhi lag rahi ho. I am fucking starving.
Yes.
I have not had a meal in 3 days.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So, that happened, and I eventually, I turned to my dad and I was like, I'm not doing this. I didn't give my exam. And then I had started working, so I had started making money also. Pehle I wasn't being paid. I started making money. I started saving up.
Okay.
And then my parents were like, yeah. So it was very tense at home at that point.
Yes.
Let's just say that.
Yes.
And उस वक्त तक मैंने ना जाके Zabist apply कर दिया. And I applied for journalism, and I was like, मैंने ये करना है. And I got in. I gave मैंने अपना, obviously everyone gets into Zabist, but like I got in, and yeah. So वो सब हो गया. Now there was this period of time in the middle where I was just at home. I was just working, and my उस वक्त कराची में office बना था Mango Pass का. So my boss called me and he's like, do you want to like come on board like as an intern? Like we'll pay you a little more and everything. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like so I started going to the office. I was promoted within a month to full time, and I was working my ass off because I loved it. You know, I threw myself into it. I loved it. I loved writing. I loved being able to manage content. And once that happened, obviously that came with a bit of a more like थोड़ा और salary bump आ गया था. उस वक्त तक घर पे everyone was just like, you know, what the fuck are you doing? So I moved out for a bit. I went to live with my friend. And eventually...
Oh, dude, you're doing all the wrong things. You want to become a doctor, you want to write, then you want to move out.
Yeah.
Anap shanap, ladkiyon aap.
Exactly. So basically, I was like, how can I disappoint my parents in the best possible way? And I did all of those things. And eventually, like, there was like, you know, you dropped out and whatever. And tension thi, but once I started working, obviously our parents are also very celebrity oriented, and like once they started seeing कि like अच्छा बच्ची like इस celebrity के साथ काम करी और इस celebrity के साथ काम करी, like oh like फिर calls जब करते थे नहीं medicine छोड़ दी अब तो वो इसके साथ काम करी, and I'm like I don't work with them, I collaborate with them sometimes. They're like they don't need to know that you dropped out of med school. But so eventually now, like we've all made our peace with the fact that I'm doing this and I would say I'm doing well.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
As well as I can at this point in time.
Sure.
And like I think that's how, I guess in all of that, I'm finally going to graduate as a journalist in August.
Inshallah.
Yeah. I'm working on my thesis right now.
Beautiful. What's it about, the thesis?
Counterculture in urban Karachi.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful, yes.
So, that's about it. So I guess I always was
Wanting
a writer, and now I am. And even though I have like major imposter syndrome, कि मैं अपने आप को writer बोलूँ, यानी because sometimes you see other writers and they're brilliant.
They are.
And then you're like, should I call myself a writer?
No, it's a spectrum, no? It's a spectrum.
It is.
You absolutely should call yourself a writer. It's a spectrum. I think it's a beautiful thing that your parents have finally come to terms, or your family has finally come to terms with this. मेरे ख्याल में उनके साथ मसला यही होता है वालिदैन के साथ कि they want proof of concept. They want you to travel the tried and tested beaten path ताकि आपको तकलीफ कम हो.
Yeah.
इसमें ये इशू होता है यहाँ तक it's a very noble thing for them to hope for this for you, right? मसला क्या होता है इसमें somewhere along the way they begin to conflate that kind of altruism, that kind of parental love with their own ego. यार ये मेरी बेटी है ये कैसे नहीं मानेगी मेरी बात? And that's where it becomes kind of dicey. Kind of difficult, right? So, khair, that's a beautiful journey for them, for you. I think that's wonderful. The other thing that you said, you lost 25 kilos.
Yeah.
25 kilos is weight, right? And the problem is, and so if you've written about menstruation and periods, I'm very sure you've written about body dysmorphia. And our general, must have. We can baat to kar sakte hain us bare mein ki our general want for women to be shaped in an absolutely impossible manner. Like have all these dimensions, not eat, not have their tummy stick out. God forbid they should have any kind of body hair. Any of those things, right?
Yeah.
So, how was that कि आप एक तरफ इतनी अजियत में हो 25 किलो गिराना it's something. So, okay, I'll tell you why I think I understand some of this. So, I am generally I have the proclivity to put on a lot of weight very, very fast.
Okay.
Even from the first day of starting this podcast. The first day I started this podcast, I was 105 kilos, right? Right now, I am 82, right? So, और ये जो हुआ है पिछले 1-1.5-2 महीने में हुआ है, right? And people are like, oh, it's a beautiful transformation. I'm like, yeah, beautiful is one way of saying it, alhamdulillah. But really, it's very, very difficult because aakhir mein, the only way to lose weight is to not eat as much.
Yeah.
Right? But I do also understand that I was fat. For someone who's already normal, to lose 25 kilos can kill them.
Yeah.
It could almost be lethal, right? And especially for women, because women need fat more than men do. That's another thing that people don't understand. You just do need fat in your... Because of the bleeding and the way the physiology is formed, you just need fat more. And that's why you have more fat stores on your body. That's just science. ठीक है ना? तो talk to me about that and how your journey's been with that, because 25 kilo gira dena and everyone being like, oh, beautiful, at least you're doing what you're supposed to do. How's that?
So again, for context, I was a chubby kid. I was a fat kid. Let's not sugarcoat it. I was a fat kid, and I loved eating.
Sure.
Okay? I still do. Like,
it's a beautiful thing. Food.
I was the kid. Like, did you ever have chockies?
Oh, dude, did I have chockies?
Oh my God. So I used to, I shit you not, I used to stuff 40 in my like CGM का वो जो हमारे pouch था, इतना सा pouch होता था like per pocket, उसके अंदर मैं 40 easy, like, and मैं van में बैठ के खा रही होती थी. Oh my God, fuck, I miss chockies. But like,
they were probably one of the worst tasting chocolates I've ever had.
But they were melted so and they just like, it was just a concept.
It's
like,
practical.
Yeah. And then eventually, you know, they started doing this thing where they started putting, oh my god, I'm going to go off on a tangent about
Please do.
chocolates. But they started putting, I think it was Nutella in like
Oh,
a
no.
toothpaste ka wo, and then you could just squeeze that shit and oh my god, so
what?
good. It was so
Yeah,
good.
pata hai kya? Last night, so I also I do believe I have an eating disorder. So I can put down 7 to 8,000 calories
Okay.
when it goes off. I try not to, but when it goes off, it goes off. Kal raat, me and a close friend of mine, Shan Paracha, we were sitting down and just talking about food. And donuts came up. अब आपको पता है यहाँ पे lockdown भी लगा हुआ है, तो you can't go anywhere, but deliveries are
Which you
open.
can order.
Yeah, right. And Hello Donuts का मतलब जिक्र हुआ तो मैंने बोला फ़ोन कर देते हैं. फ़ोन किया, उन्होंने बोला सर बिल्कुल पहुंचा देंगे, क्या चाहिए, क्या खाएंगे आप. मैंने बोला हजरत क्या है आपके पास, क्या खाऊंगा. So I had a Boston creme, and they have this one called something Nutella,
Okay.
where they have, it's a beautifully baked donut
Okay.
with Nutella inside, and I'm pretty sure that's 500 or 600 calories in one donut. Aram se na.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's diabolical. I don't know. It's just,
Yeah.
Bella, sorry. Haan.
Yeah, no.
So for toothpaste with Nutella.
Yeah. So basically, what I'm saying is I love food, and for me, when I eventually went to the A-level institute that I went to, which was a traumatic experience in and of itself.
And you won't name that either?
Yeah, because again, I don't want lawsuits.
Why would they sue you?
I don't know, man. Like the person in the administration, a person in the administration is very strange, and I just don't want that kind of PTSD. But like,
So yeah, just tell me about the experience. Why was it traumatic?
I'll get to
Okay,
that.
sure. Okay.
Yeah, I'll get to that after this. But when you're in all girls school, right? The bullying is very different, right? Where people are just like, you're fat, and that's fine because you're fine being the fat friend, because you're like, yeah, okay, theek hai, but you know, I'm eating chockies, like
Yeah.
I'm living my life, right?
Yes, I am.
But when you get into a co-ed institute and you haven't been around boys your
That's
entire
it. So
life,
late you get into a
Yeah.
co-ed institute.
and you're like, and obviously you're also thinking like the worst fear then is, what if I stain myself? Like literally, I remember this was my worst fear. I was like, oh shit, what if I stain myself, right? But like also you're like, now in this new environment, you are overweight, and all of these uncultured boys don't know how to talk to women who are either like, you're fat, or you're like, you look like a bodybuilder, or like, you know, just mean shit that they say. You're just like, okay, maybe I need to do something about this. And I think it took me a long while. I mean, it took me like this last year to realize कि यार ठीक है, मतलब मेरे पेट में जा रहा है ना, मेरी body, I have to live with my body,
Yeah.
and it's fine. Like I would much rather you know, eat something that I love, work out later, and then, you know, see where that takes us. You know, if I mean, I'm care. It's been a journey, but whatever.
Yeah.
Getting back to that. So I oh shit, I almost took the name of the place, but like
Now I know. Now everyone knows. But ek minute, let me just say, it's the journey that you were talking about. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing realizing कि भाई आखिर में मैंने अपने साथ रहना है,
Yeah.
and I need to be comfortable in my own body.
Yeah.
Also, I think when we conflate these things about body image, about being fat and not fat, overweight, underweight, एक चीज़ हम भूल जाते हैं कि there's also a very real physiological health function, right?
Yeah.
वो हम भूल जाते हैं.
Yeah.
So as long as you're waking up in the morning and your joints don't hurt.
Yeah.
So at 110 kilos,
Yeah.
so the maximum I've ever been is 110, 115 kilos. When I was 115 kilos, I would wake up and my elbows would hurt and my knees would hurt. That can't happen.
Yeah.
Baki, if you're overweight, underweight, round, flat, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? Just be comfortable with
Exactly.
yourself, be healthy. And yeah, dude, food is amazing. Now on to that school that you've not named.
Yes. So वहाँ पे basically वहाँ से शुरू हो गया था कि like अच्छा, like now boys are looking at me and they're like, oh, I'm like not good enough, right? But when I eventually went into med school, that sort of it got taken a step further because now the place that I went to, udhar international students bhi the,
All right.
So there were like all these guys and girls who came from LA and like New York and everything, and they were just like they were accustomed to seeing like a certain type of person, and then they were also accustomed to like their own mentality jo bhi hai, and also like locals bhi the and international students bhi the. And the thing is, both of them have a lot to say about weight, right? So when that happened, the fact that I was in med school was depressing in and of itself.
Sure.
So
You didn't want to be there.
Exactly. I hated being there. I just didn't like being there.
Okay,
And
so-
then depression has a lot to do with that as well, right? When you stop eating, like it has a lot because you just don't want to carry out your daily functions.
Yes.
You don't want to get up and take a shower. You
No,
don't want to get
no.
up and eat. I remember there was a time where I wouldn't eat for 2 days straight, 3 days straight, and I was
That's
only
sad.
surviving on 6 cups of green tea a day.
No,
Like
dude, no,
literally,
no,
and my
no.
mom was like, "Ye tum kya? Like तुम्हारा ये खराब हो जाएगा, वो खराब हो जाएगा." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." But I
लेकिन
also
मेरा
don't
दिमाग
care.
खराब हो चुका है.
Yeah, like
you know?
I also don't care, like, you know, at this point. So वो सब हो रहा था, and again, like when I started losing weight involuntarily, everyone was like, "Oh, you lost so much weight, you look so good," and like, you know, like, oh, like all these clothes were suddenly fitting me, and like I was going into trying rooms, and the shopkeepers weren't making fun of me, which was weird because like in my childhood they did. And I was like, okay, there's something here, right? Maybe I should do more, like maybe let's see how far I can take it. And then the 2 days would turn to 3 days, then like eventually having a meal in the middle and whatnot. Khair wo hota gaya, and again the response that I got was so like insane because everyone was like, "Oh, you look so good."
Yeah,
and
but
like,
I'm
तुम्हारी-
dying inside.
Yeah, और तुम्हारी jawline आ गई है और ये हो गया and वो हो गया ना. And उस वक्त तक मुझे पता भी नहीं था that these things matter, right? Like, and the saddest part was, which I think I took up with my therapist very recently, that when I was in that body, I was so unhappy because I was like, I'm still fat. I still thought I was fat, and like I still thought that body wasn't good enough. And which is again like what I took up with my therapist very recently. I was looking at old pictures of myself, like Snapchat memories and whatnot, and I was like, holy shit, that bitch was skeletal. Like, what the fuck? And when I look at myself, I'm like, I like the way I look, but why didn't I like it back then? And obviously it has so much to do with self-image and externalizing your self-worth.
Exactly
and
that locus of evaluation. You were
Yeah.
asking for validation or acceptance from someone who didn't have it to give you.
Exactly.
Because you're supposed to give it to yourself.
Exactly. तो जब वो validation भी wasn't enough and everything. And again, like when I started Zabist, I was in a really good place, you know. I was finally getting to do what I liked. I was back on track, and I remember, I clearly remember my office में बैठी थी एक दिन, and सुबह का time था, like and I ordered something from McDonald's, ठीक है?
Yes.
And it was like a breakfast thing, and I was eating it, and my boss was like, "What are you doing? You're getting fat. Like, I can see your love handles." And I remember my mouth was filled with that, and I was like, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking eat this. Like, let me enjoy this, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like I ate that, and उसके बाद से like something like just snapped. I was like, you know what? It's fine. Do your thing. Like, you know, अपना करो,
Yeah.
अपना देखो,
Yeah.
किधर तुम्हारी relationship with food क्या है.
Yeah.
And that again is also something I had to take up in therapy, where my unhealthy relationship with food came
Yes.
from.
Most of us
Yeah,
do have
yeah.
an unhealthy relationship with food.
Exactly.
But I think that attitude, the one where you were like, no, I'm gonna consume this, this monstrosity of calories and you know
Yeah.
oils and all
Yeah,
sorts
yeah.
of things that I shouldn't put in my body. The thing is, as long as you're comfortable with yourself, as long as that does not garner regret,
Yeah.
because bazukat aise bhi hota hai. For me personally, I have that donut, beautiful, right? But then I feel bad. And if you feel bad, then sort something out.
Yeah.
Either don't have the donut, have the discipline to not have that donut, or don't feel bad after.
Yeah.
Either way, just be okay.
Yeah.
Be all right with yourself. Going back to something you said about depression.
Yes.
You said depression basically leads to you avoiding routine functions. Usme, the philosophical rendition of depression is all of us have an existential void. We have an existential abyss. There's this hole, right? And it manifests itself in all of us differently. My personal manifestation, okay. So when I was in the University of Toronto, one of the semesters मैंने क्या किया कि मैंने बोला मैं तो इतना खतरनाक हूँ कि क्या बताऊँ आपको. सजीर मैं बताऊँ कि आपको मैं कितना खतरनाक हूँ. मैं जो है you were supposed to take recommended ये था कि आप 4 यूनिट्स लो. मैंने 6 लिए. ठीक कोई बात नहीं होता क्या 6 ले लिए ठीक है. उसमें फिर ये होता था कि बिकॉज माई डिग्री वॉज फिलोसफी एंड राइटिंग दे सेड फिलोसफी के आप 2 से ज़्यादा यूनिट्स नहीं ले सकते हो. मैंने 4 फिलोसफी के यूनिट्स ले लिए. जैसे आप करते हैं ज़ाहिर ही करना होता है. एंड सो द डेज वुड बी ग्रूलिंग. One of these grueling days was particularly difficult because I would start classes at 10 and I would end classes at 4. After which I would have a 2-hour break and then I would have a 3.5-hour existentialism lecture. तो सुबह के 10 बजे से मैं क्लास करता था. At 4 I would go and then I would work out. After I would work out, I would rush to the cafeteria, get a burrito, beef and all. Then I'd rush to my existentialism class. By this point, my inhibitions were completely just rubble. All of my restrictions about, you need to function like this, you need to be, all of my propriety would just be out the window, right? And then I would be regaled with tales of Friedrich Nietzsche and Albert Camus and all these existentialist philosophers, Dostoevsky, all these existentialist philosophers. So when all these inhibitions are off, and I tell this story for a particular reason, when you get rid of all these things that keep you normal, quote unquote, keep you, they hold you together, that's when you finally come to terms with what the existential void or vacuum manifests itself as in you. So for me, it was concrete color ka ground, pitch black sky, and a huge hole, like the biggest, deepest hole that you can think of, right? So big, in fact, that the only way you even know it's circular is that, or I'm standing right on the edge, and it just curves, but I can't see the edges, and I can't see how far it goes, but I know it's a hole, and I know it sucks things because I can't breathe when I look into it. See, it's infinite. The existential vacuum is infinite. So what you need to put into it to fill it up is also needs to be infinite. That's why people gravitate towards religion, right? Because they're not actually gravitating towards religion. They want God, because God is infinite. Or they want love, because love is infinite. Unconditional love, not whatever this is. Unconditional love is infinite. Or peace, because peace is infinite. And inadvertently, I was speaking to someone very close to me, and she pointed out that inadvertently all of these things are the same thing. Then God is love, and love is God, and love leads to God. And peace leads to God, and God is love and peace. तो जो depression होती है ना, आखिर में it is a stifling realization कि nothing you do will ever have meaning. And that's where you are, right? And that's the philosophical rendition of depression. कि आखिर में आप बोलते हैं कि भाई जब किसी चीज़ के माने ही नहीं है तो फिर क्यों उठे, क्यों खाना खाएं? That's what it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like if I'm lying in bed and I'm like अच्छा अब मुझे जाके ये आज मेरी फिजियोलॉजी की क्लास है, आज मेरी बायोलॉजी की क्लास है, सॉरी बायोकेमिस्ट्री की क्लास है, and I'm like हाँ है तो मैं क्या करूँ, like मैं जाके पढ़ भी लूँगी, मैं डॉक्टर भी बन जाऊँगी, तो I'm not, what am I going to do next? Like, am I going to continue living my life so passively where like somebody else is like controlling it? Like I mean, in many ways I did give up, I suppose, like on so many things, and so many things suffered because of it. And at that point in time, when I think back to the person I was, because very often we don't acknowledge for whatever reason we are all toxic, and we all have the ability to be toxic.
Yes.
And when you are being toxic, उस वक्त आपको शायद इतना realize नहीं होता, because आपको लगता है कि वो justified है, वो एक justified जगह से आ रहा है कि मेरे साथ ये हुआ तो मैं ये कर सकती हूँ, मेरे साथ ये हुआ तो मैं ये कर सकती हूँ. And when you kind of move away from that situation and then you go back and reflect, you're like, holy shit, I was so toxic at that point in time.
Yeah.
And then you have to make amends and whatnot. And at that point in time, I was such a toxic, angry, aggressive person, you know. Like, my writing reflected that.
Sure. Okay.
My behavior reflected that. I was angry all the time. I was bitter. Like, I remember I was bitter, like, about life, about everything. And I don't know how the people around me managed at that point in time. But, and obviously a lot of them didn't, and they're not in my life anymore. And
But you can't blame them.
Yeah, I can't. I've made my apologies. I've said my sorries. And but again, like, there's so much that goes on. Again, like, aap depressed hote ho, but then you're also being toxic. You're angry at yourself. You're angry at other people. You don't know who to blame. And you also just don't want to do anything. You also don't want those thoughts in your head.
You don't want to be there, na yaar.
Yeah.
You don't want to be there. You
Yeah.
don't want to be.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
Allah Rahm kare.
Yeah. And that was what it was. I mean, but I think it sounds very like woe to say it, like, oh, I'm so glad I went through that time. Would I have chosen not to go through that time? Of course. Like, I wish I was this person without going through that time.
Yeah.
But I also understand that I am this person because I went through that time. And सही है, ठीक है, lesson है, learn किया, and हो गया, वो भी वक्त था, गुजर गया.
नहीं तो जाहिर है ना भाई, गिरे, चोट लग गई, फिर उठ गए, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह. ऐसे ही होता है. And that's exactly right? When you say stuff like, oh, I'm glad I went through it, well, you never mean, obviously, and you're not even saying it, but even people who say that they're glad they went through it, they're glad that they didn't have a choice to pull out. They're glad that they didn't, because no one would willingly, are you crazy? No one would willingly go through that stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, वही जो आपने बोला, to come out and be this, वो होना भी ज़रूरी था.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very like Sansa Stark, like, you know, like जब वो बोलती है कि like
Sansa कौन सी वाली थी?
little bird, जो वो जो queen बन जाती है eventually, queen of the month, and she goes like, वो hound से बात कर रही होती है, and she's like, if the little bird didn't go through all of this, she would not be this person. And like, for me, like, that was because Sansa's been through a lot, right? Like, in the show, and I was like, I mean, I had a little bit of like objection with that, like, why do women need to go through like so many things for them to become these heroic characters? And it's never just like they had to fight with someone. It's always like sexual assault and like so many other things which Sansa went through. And like, I didn't necessarily agree with that. I got the sentiment of what she was saying, but I didn't necessarily agree with that, because if you have a choice, you always would not want that thing to be a lesson, right? No. So but like but to the extent where I agree with it, I would say कि हाँ, like, मुझे भी थोड़ा वो समझ आता है कि हो गया, and that's why I am here, and that is that.
Yeah, in writing, there's the concept of the feminine journey versus the hero's journey. The hero's journey is always outward, where there's a establishment, then there is a conflict, journey, resolution, or lack thereof. The feminine journey is always internal. Also, it's understood to be in writing, at least classical writing mein. The feminine journey is always internal. It's always external environments causing her to change fundamentally, right? And one of the best renditions of the female's journey is the horror genre, जिसमें आप देखो कि खातून को एक उसमें बच्चे भी आ जाते हैं वैसे, लेकिन it's still the feminine journey. खातून को इतनी अजियत देते हैं कि there's something inside her that breaks or evaporates or is eviscerated, जिसके बाद she becomes something. She's no longer someone you can bully or manipulate or any of those things. Then she becomes something. Then she becomes the manifestation of maybe revenge, maybe rage, maybe balance. So yeah, I don't know. Personally, I didn't like what they did with the last season of Game of Thrones. It was horrible.
I think everyone's unanimous when we say that वो आखिरी season खराब कर दिया था उन्होंने पूरा.
And आप ऐसे सोचो, जहाँ तक मैंने सुना है, जहाँ तक मैंने पढ़ा है, they did it on a whim. They did it because उनका एक और वो था, कोई show था जो approve नहीं हुआ था.
मतलब, why would you spend so much of your time, everyone else's time, only to like literally take the piss and be like, हाँ, okay, let's just like for shits and giggles, let's just do this. No, it was such a letdown. But खैर है, मतलब it's funny, right? Because Game of Thrones was such a huge thing back then, and like once that season came out and once they like annihilated the ending, people stopped talking about it. Abhi iska prequel aa raha hai.
Yeah.
And like, I'm
No
just
one's
like,
talking about it, yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck would I watch that? Like, I know what you did with the final season. I'm not trusting you guys anymore, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
लोग generally ऐसे whimsical हो जाते हैं ना. People are generally. I suppose you would know more about this than me. I don't I don't interact with a lot of famous people. मतलब जो भी आता है यहाँ पे आ जाता है, alhamdulillah. But people get whimsical, no? When they get notoriety, you know, when they get clout.
I'm not sure. My stomach's growling because I haven't eaten. But like, I am not sure.
Why have you not eaten?
Yeah, because I woke up at 12.
कुछ मंगाऊं क्या?
नहीं, I'm good.
Okay.
I'll go home. I'll pour dal chawal. Like, that's good.
Dude, dal chawal is...
it's such an underrated dish. Like, I feel like people don't appreciate it enough.
It's necessary. Dal chawal is necessary. Achha, recently I was introduced to the fact that dal chawal खाने होते हैं अचार के साथ. And I was like, that makes sense. But
Yeah.
I've always had dal chawal with aloo bhindi.
Okay.
Fry.
Okay.
Aloo bhindi fry. Keema.
Okay.
और kebab.
Okay.
और kebab भी crispy वाले.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like there's no wrong way to have dal chawal. Like, I mean, unless you're like, I don't know if you're going really like outrageous with it. I feel like you can have dal chawal, achar, kebab, papad.
Papad.
Oh my God, there are papad at home right now.
Yes,
Oh my God.
yes.
But I left the house and I could smell the dal cooking and I was like, holy shit.
ये क्या हो गया?
Yeah, like, and my aunt was like, तुम रुक जाओ थोड़ी देर खा लो. And I was just like, क्या बोलनी है आप? Of course I want to do that, but I have to leave right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna go back and pour out. But like, I need to stop thinking about food so much. This is quickly
Getting flustered.
Yeah. Oh, I think I'm salivating. Okay.
That's
Anyway, back to
I don't eat all day.
what?
I don't eat anything all day.
Why?
I just drink water. I eat रात में एक बार. Because
Is that healthy?
I don't know if it is, but my eating disorder ruined my gut biome and my stomach.
Okay.
So if I ate throughout the day, I would constantly be in variable amounts of pain and discomfort. So now I eat once a day.
Shit.
Huh. That makes you feel bad, doesn't
Oh,
it?
God, that's so
Full
fucking
shame कर रहा हूँ मैं
tragic.
आपको. I'm joking, dude. I eat once a day, but I'm happy. Alhamdulillah, I'm happy. Yeah. So anything that would stimulate the metabolism, I try to avoid. Anything meaning anything, even fluids stimulate the metabolism. Even things that you claim to have 0 calories will stimulate the metabolism,
Yeah.
like Coke Zero.
Right. Oh, I haven't had a soft drink since I was 15. I gave up soft drinks when I was 15. I have not looked back. I don't care for soft drinks. I'm fine with that.
Yeah?
I don't have juices. I don't
Energy
have
drinks भी नहीं.
nothing. I
That's
don't
beautiful, dude.
Yeah, I
That's
have.
really good.
Yeah, I left. Like, I also left desserts in the middle, but then when I eventually no, then I found my way back. I was like, yeah,
Ji,
ऐसा
alhamdulillah.
मतलब I can't do this.
Big fan of mangoes?
I used to be, but for some reason I have an allergic reaction to them. Like, every time I've had a mango, I break out, like, and it's not like pimples, right? It's like bade like dard wale dane.
Yeah.
So I stopped having mangoes after that.
That's a tragedy.
Yeah, I know, because mangoes are great.
Mangoes are great.
Yeah, and like
and you're employed by a company called Mango Boss.
exactly, it's very ironic. Yeah, but and I've also, like, once you see the way your father makes ras, you kind of also lose like a certain amount of appetite for that, because my father.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
Like, वो आम रस जिस तरह निकालते हैं, I don't think anybody should be having that. Like, it's just really gross to watch, and he's very.
Does it with his hands?
Yeah, and he's very like, मतलब खुले में कर रहे होते हैं. Like, there's this picture burned in my mind of my father, like, just sitting in the drawing room, like, taking out amras, and like AC में बैठे, he's like, गर्मी लग रही है, and I'm just like, you are so gross, and वही चाट रहे हैं, and I'm like, dude, please go wash your hands.
That whole image just is beautiful. Amras निकाल रहे, it's still गर्मी लग रही है. What?
Yeah, and the thing, so I love my father. Okay, he's my friend. He's my friend,
mashallah.
and he's great. But because he's my friend, he assumes that all of my friends are his friends, and he assumes that all of my sister's friends are his friends, and my brother doesn't ever bring friends over, so that's fine. So now, obviously, as a Pakistani man, he is accustomed to roaming shirtless around the house, wearing a shalwar, and like matlab tone full nikli huई है, and chilling, like the most body positive man I've ever met. Like, does not give a fuck, like,
Yes.
And he's like, तो जब भी कोई आता है, like, my friends have a nickname for him. They they call him Golu. Okay,
Oh, cute.
and he is a teddy bear. It's adorable. But like certain times, somebody comes over and you're just like, Dad, put on a shirt. And he's like, and he'll just be like, "Wohi lage honge." He's like, "Nahi, mera ghar hai. Mujhe comfortable hona hai." So
Why is he shirtless?
yeah, you can't get that image out of your mind.
While he's shirtless, he's just like,
Yeah.
it's hot today, isn't it?
Yeah, and then like my friends were like, "Golu ko bolo shirt pehne," and I bola hua hai, maine nahi sunte.
Right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. It's also interesting because I have now recently come to the realization that what is essential for women empowerment, amongst the myriad other things, including organizations like the Aurat March, theories of feminism, education, conversations, is an unconditional regard from the parents.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think उसके बगैर ना काम नहीं चलता है.
Absolutely.
आप जितनी भी पढ़ाई कर लो ना, अंदर से अगर आप टूटे हुए हो,
Yeah.
अंदर से अगर आपको ये खौफ है कि यार मैं गिरूंगी या गिरूंगा, बिकॉज मर्दों को भी जरूरत होती है किसी हद तक, और मुझे कोई पकड़ने वाला नहीं है, you will always be afraid. You always live hunched over.
True. And then there are some people who realize that, oh shit, I have nobody, and then they kind of have to be that person for themselves as well. But in most cases, yes, I feel like because a lot of me sort of getting back on track had to do with my parents coming in and supporting me and understanding where I was coming from. And a lot of that has to do with my father as well. And just being able to have those conversations. I've been able to like talk to my father about anything. I've never been worried about dating somebody because I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm dating this person. I've never been worried about anything for that matter. If I have to smoke, like I'll be like, Papa, wo Marlboro le aaye, and like, he'll be like, yeah, okay, sure. Like, so I have a very good relationship with him like that. I mean, not that any parent should be giving their children cigarettes or anything for that matter.
I mean,
but,
not that brand,
yeah,
maybe. I mean,
okay. Yeah.
That's a harsh.
But so I think knowing that if something happens, like I have him to just even talk to is great.
It's a beautiful thing, yes.
And I think the realization really sunk in was, and this is really sad, but unko recently COVID ho gaya tha. Actually, my pure khandan ko COVID ho gaya tha. And he got the sick. Obviously he's the eldest in the family, and he's well over 60 right now, and he is generally unhealthy because again, like
the tone and everything.
Yeah, so doesn't take. And the thing is, he's very like, take care of me. I'm not going to take care of myself.
Is he Sindhi?
No.
Why is he doing that?
I don't know. He's just the embodied, like he's just a very lazy person, and I live for it. Like I love the fact that he is so comfortable. कि he's like, मैं अपना ख्याल भी नहीं रखूँगा, वो भी मेरा आप लोग करो, मेरे लिए सांस ले लो अगर कर सकते हो.
अल्लाह रहम करे यार.
So he really sort of like gave up when he was sick, and my mom was just like getting frustrated because she had COVID and she hadn't told any of us. ठीक है, वो करके again context, my entire family medical health professionals, Abbu doctor, bhai doctor, Ammi nurse. ठीक है, so they work in COVID wards and whatnot, and I don't have COVID, by the way, just in case you're worried. Like,
अब तो अल्लाह रहम करने वाला है. अब इसके बाद क्या बताओगे आप, मुझे नहीं बताओ.
No, I haven't had COVID yet, even though I was in that house. But so when he got COVID, he got really sick, and he was taken to the ICU and everything. And that's when it kind of like really hit, right? कि like if something, Allah na kare, if something were to happen to this man, what the fuck will I do? And being the eldest, it's what the fuck can I do is also not, you can't have place for that question in your mind when something like this happens, because my parents are the kind of people who before leaving for a trip, they're like, listen, if we die, like this is where all the documents are, this is what you have to do, this is who you have to call. And like the literally the last time they traveled, I was like 16, 17, so they had this conversation with me when I was 16, 17, right? And since then it's been in my mind कि अच्छा like वो documents वहाँ पे पड़ी हैं, यहाँ पे पड़ी है, ऐसे uncle को call करनी है, इसको call करनी है. And when you see that like happen in front of you, and then you hear your mom saying कि like, yeah, he's giving up and whatnot, it really kind of, it puts a lot of things into perspective. And I'm glad that he's well, and
Alhamdulillah.
I'm so glad he's well and he's back to being normal, like his usual normal self. But yeah, it's just something that stays with you, and but even then, like, I'm glad he's fine. He's doing what he does. Like, I think like he'll be very happy, like if he keeps stuffing himself like till the end of time. तो वो करे अपना खाएं
Yeah,
जो
yeah.
करना है
Yeah,
करे.
yeah.
I'm fine with it as long as he's taking some, like, थोड़ी अपना ख्याल रख
Does
ले.
he still work?
Yeah, he teaches at a medical university.
A prestigious medical university?
It is a Dow.
Okay, that was good.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Yeah. I think that's awesome. I think that's truly beautiful. And I think वही वाली बात है ना, आखिर में it's about coming to terms with who you are and being at peace with it. He does sound like someone who has done that. I think coming to that realization though, men particularly, but really adults generally, who seemed so powerful and so strong and so unbroken when we were kids.
Yeah.
I suppose part of growing up, मतलब इस उम्र में भी अगर मैंने grow up नहीं किया तो मसला हो जाएगा. But a part of growing up is realizing कि, you know, you growing up necessitates that they're getting old.
Yeah.
Necessitates weakness. Strength, weakness. Like,
Yeah.
that's just how it is. And that's a heavy thing.
It is.
That's a heavy
I
thing.
think that's because I've also not actually talked about this with anybody, any of my friends, because it's not a conversation. Like, I feel like again, I guess I've just avoided this conversation. I haven't even talked to my therapist about this, but it does. This is something I say very often to my friends. Ki, like, shit, you know, with every passing year, our parents are getting old, you know. And I was I think I जब ये हुआ था, actually, or maybe before that, like, I'm glad I was able to mend my relationship with my parents.
Yeah.
And it's great because now, you know, they're off my back and, like, you know, they're chill and everything. And I think अब तो मैंने उनको थोड़ा वो कर दिया, like उनका मैंने इतना bar low set कर दिया that now it's like everything goes, right?
Yeah.
So, like, there is nothing I can do. I guess there was nothing worse than leaving med school, and now that I've done that, the bar is just low for me. And I think it's so underrated being in that area where the bar is low, because then, like, if they don't expect anything from you, you can't disappoint them.
No, and then everything you do is an achievement.
Exactly. So it's great, like, and it's great. Everything you do is an achievement unless your father. So I'll tell you something. My father, he just made his Instagram account, like, last
beautiful,
year.
yes.
Yeah. And it's just filled with videos of him dancing, like just randomly dance, because he does that a lot. He starts dancing randomly, and so he made an Instagram account, and I was like, "Okay, what are you gonna do with it?" He's like, "Oh, what?" Like, so I do lives on Instagram lives on Mango Bus, right, with different people. So he's like, "Oh, I'll just watch your Instagram lives." He has not watched a single one. ठीक है? अब एक दिन मैंने उनको बोला कि I'm going live with a celebrity that he really likes, अदनान सिद्दीकी, ठीक है?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he was like कि oh, like, अदनान को बोलो मैं उसका बहुत बड़ा fan हूँ. And I was like, चले मैं बोल दूँगी, आप आ जाना, like, you watch it. So अब अच्छा, so context, Mango Bus पे अगर आप live जाते हो, बहुत ट्रोलिंग होती है. मैंगो बस पे जनरली ट्रोलिंग होती है, बट इफ़ यू गो लाइव पीपल आर रिलेंटलेस, स्पेशली जब हमने शुरू में करना शुरू किया था. अब तो थोड़े बेहतर हो गए. बट सो can I abuse, like, can I, like,
course,
yeah,
yeah.
okay, so like मैं अदनान सिद्दीकी के साथ लाइव हूँ, मैं बात कर रही हूँ, कमेंट्स में लोग गालियाँ दे रहे हैं ना, मतलब गंदी माँ बहन की गालियाँ दे रहे हैं मुझे, like, people,
आपको क्यों?
वो बस मुझे ही देते हैं because I am the face of Mango Buzz right now, like, on Instagram live, right? So they're like ये लगाती है, like, you know, they'll say random stuff and बहुत सारी slut shaming करते हैं. I don't know why. I don't know how much you get from, like, इतना सा शक्ल of, like, a person, but So that was happening, and like मैं comment like एक एक करके delete कर रही हूँ, and in all of those comments I see like Fuad Sheikh, I love you Adnan.
Cute.
I'm like what? And then I love you Adnan, I love you, and then I'm like Adnan, I think मेरे अब्बू आपको I love you बोल रहे हैं. He's like नहीं बेटा वो आपको I love you बोल रहे हैं. I'm like नहीं उन्होंने लिखा I love you Adnan. And then after I said that he went away. He's like मेरा काम हो गया. He didn't watch the entire live. He was gone. Then I went to him later. He's like सरी तुम्हें तो बहुत लोग गालियाँ दे रहे होते हैं. I was like you could have stepped in. And he's like मैंने अपना काम कर लिया. Like I just wanted to tell Adnan. Like he to the point like he now ईद होती है. He's like Adnan को wish किया मेरी तरफ से. I was like Adnan does not care about you.
He doesn't. He's not my friend.
Yeah, he's not my friend. Like we don't talk every day.
Adnan Siddiqui is that distinguished looking gentleman, no? With the good hair and just the jaw.
मेरे पास तुम हो boy, like a boy can sorry Adnan. मेरे पास तुम हो अरे gentleman who played one of the two chef the villain. Yeah, he's very good looking. He's very daddy vibes, like बहुत ज़्यादा like
daddy vibes. What the shit?
Sorry, like I maintain that he's a very good looking man.
Yes.
And अब he's older तो he has daddy vibes. मैं क्या करूँ मतलब?
Like I said, distinguished gentleman.
Yeah, yes. I told him this, by the way.
Okay.
I ended up accidentally saying this to him, that you give off very daddy vibes, and he was just like thank you.
But daddy vibes or not, yeah, देखो, I think you need to be comfortable enough in your own skin to be able to compliment someone. I think it's a beautiful thing, and it's a lost art to compliment people.
Yeah, I know. Like I feel like मैं तो करती हूँ compliment. मुझे तो अच्छा लगता है. बस उन सही है. Like it's up to them if they want to accept it.
Yeah. And also not just like you know how they look, but just if someone's doing good work.
Yeah.
I think किसी हद तक you're acting in good faith if you just tell them that.
Yeah, absolutely.
आप अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं.
Absolutely.
और आप लगे रहें.
Absolutely.
You don't know how much that will affect the other person.
Yeah.
Right? Because हम जो है सब एक तरीके से when we wake up, we're operating from the time we wake up, so much stuff is operating on us. Social media हो गया, कुछ और हो गया, all those societal imperatives, parental messages, all those stuff. तो उसमें ना any kind of stuff, any kind of comment or any kind of information or stimulus that will get our cognitive capital up a little bit or increase our cognitive resources. बहुत ज़रूरी होता है, बहुत अच्छी चीज़ होती है. I think like it goes without saying. And similarly, I think ये जो trolls होते हैं जो आपको माँ बहन की गालियाँ दे रहे हैं, I really think they're just broken people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're also 15. So, I mean, they're going through that phase where they're angry, they're rebellious, they have a lot of misdirected anger because, again, like, हमारा जो content है, I'm not going to say it's good or it's bad, like, but a lot of it is, like, around, now, meme culture. I love meme culture.
Sure.
But when the joke is at the expense of someone else that you do not know, like for instance जब आप roast करते हो किसी को, मुझे roasting नहीं समझ आती. I think if it's done in a friendly way, it's great. Like I like Comedy Central roasts, they're fun to watch, and that's fine, right? But when you are doing it from a when you're doing it from a place of like insecurity, or if you're doing it from a place of like, why does that person have that and why do I not have that? That's when I feel like it's a little off, right? And your roasting culture, a lot of it is that because I feel like they don't understand the difference, especially Pakistani YouTubers. I'm not going to take names again.
Yo, please do. Come on now.
No.
Come on.
The last time we beefed with this unnamed individual, he is the one who sent his army of trolls to give these galis to me, and ab ek saal baad I'm still dealing with it. I'm not going to take his name, but
does he have a bird in his name?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That was such a cute smile. You're just like
But because that was such a good
Bas, bhai.
Yeah. So yes, how did you arrive at that immediately?
Army of trolls और किसके पास है?
हाँ, सही बात है वैसे, सही बात है. और yeah, okay.
And who directs them to do that? इरफान भाई तो नहीं करते, नूरू भाई तो नहीं करते, हमजा भाई तो नहीं करते, पतंगीर करते हैं नहीं. Who are we talking about? रामेश करता है नहीं. Where are we going?
Yeah. Jo bhi, whoever this unnamed YouTuber / influencer is,
Yes.
tends to do this a lot, and I think
He's also
that's
22. Did you know that?
really.
He's a child.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A child with 2 million followers. That's what happens.
Is he actually 22?
Bacha.
Huh. Interesting. I
Yeah.
didn't know. I thought he was like at least my age, if not older, but like, okay. 22. Okay, I care.
Now I've humanized him.
Yeah, you have.
No,
Now-
okay, go ahead. Tell me your story. I'm sorry.
But there, I mean, yeah. So मैं बोल ही रही थी. I mean, between all the intrigue around him, I forgot what I actually had to say. But like, I'm just thinking about I'm fixated on the fact that he's 22 because now I'm like, should I have been nicer to him when I was talking to him, because I was very like, professional when we were talking. But जो इसने किया था ना, ये मुझे सही नहीं लगा. So he did something, said something allegedly, and he then got attacked by a certain group of people that he offended. ठीक है?
Allah रहम करे.
Not attacked, like as in verbally,
okay.
they were calling him out. Sorry,
Okay.
मैंने गलत बोली. They were calling him out for something that if he had intended to be racist, it was wrong. He shouldn't have done that. ठीक है? But if it was unintentional, ठीक है, गलतियाँ होती हैं. We covered that. This is what happened, and this is what people are saying. So he's like, you are fueling the fire and you are telling people that I am being racist. And we're like, but you said that. Like, we're not taking it out of context. You said that. And he's just like, and so what I said was, I don't remember if I had this conversation or if my boss had this conversation, but we were like, कि आप एक काम करो, use our platform, ठीक है? You can we'll put out another piece, or we'll edit the piece with your apology, or like whatever you want to say, clarification. And he's like, okay, I'll get back to you. Never got back to us. He, I think, misbehaved with my boss, with the editor-in-chief, and uske baad he took out a video.
Misbehaved.
Yeah, like I don't know the extent of the conversation, but thodi I believe badtameezi ki hogi. Like again with me also, he's very dismissive. Like like let me talk to your boss. And I was like, bitch, I handle content. Like fuck off. So, but anyway, khair. He took out a video where he stuck a picture of my boss on a fuck, I'm getting too specific. But anyway, and he took it around town, and he was just like, ye clicks ke bhuke hain, inko clicks do. And
clicks ke bhuke hain,
but the thing is that my concern here is that you're somebody with more than jitne bhi followers aapke, and that man doesn't even have like a public account. It's very clearly you're bullying. You are making somebody's private life public. Like, you are taking somebody's picture without consent. And it's just so unnecessary because, again, he is not necessarily the only person behind Mango Bus. He's not necessarily the only person taking decisions. So it was very, very unnecessary. We're still dealing with people coming into the comments saying clicks ke bhuke. Like, हाँ हैं हम clicks के भूखे.
सभी होते हैं.
मुझे पैसे मिलते हैं क्योंकि मुझे clicks मिलती है. Like, I mean, how मैं छोड़ दूँ job.
By the way, आप comment कर रहे हैं, इसके भी मुझे पैसे मिल रहे हैं.
I mean,
please,
yeah, like give me engagement. That's great for me. Like, come watch. Like, up to honestly, when people hop on and they're गालियाँ दे होते हैं, and like a celebrity will come on and वो गालियाँ चली होती हैं. They're like, why are they saying this? I'm like, नहीं, ये हमारे boys हैं. ये जब तक आते नहीं हैं, हमें लगता नहीं है कि हम लोग live शुरू कर सकते हैं. Give me engagement. I'm fine with it. Like, मतलब, it's my job. Like, and I think it's also a little unfortunate that you have to get used to it, but you do have to get used to it. Like, but ये जो मुझे idea लगता है ना कि हम लोग जब बोलते हैं कि if you're a public figure, you will be subjected to this and that.
That's horseshit. Sorry.
Yeah. Subject me to constructive criticism, great. I will be more than happy to accommodate it. But if you're saying that just because, firstly, in this day and age, everyone's a public figure. We all have public accounts.
But none of us are public property.
Yeah, I do not owe you my personal life. I do not owe you explanations. I owe you my work, which is my content that I create. And that is it. So then for you to say कि अगर आप ये पहन कर आओगे और ये नहीं, fuck that. Like, I'm sorry, I do not agree with that. Like, and ये Clubhouse पे एक discussion हो रही थी, and they were like, somebody came in. It's so easy for people who aren't in that line of fire to say these things. So like Irfan Juneja was also on this in this room, and he was talking about how he's very like disheartened and like with like you know because log itne, regardless of what happens there's so much criticism, and people are like nahi Irfan bhai aap content banaye, and I'm like samjho to sahi where he's coming from. Like this man is like he was passionate about his work, and then regardless of what he did, like log agar understand karenge, you do get disheartened.
They've been irreverent though. It's not just that they misunderstand.
Yeah.
They are irreverent of struggle,
Yeah.
of hopes, of dreams, of ambitions,
Yeah.
of anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to continue to be irreverent and you're going to continue to be entitled about someone's like whatever some effort, आखिर में आपके ख्याल में क्या होगा? यही होगा ना, बंदा burnout होगा, बंदा बोले जो आप बोल रहे हो कि फिर बंदा बोलेगा ठीक है, so then I'm going to focus on paying my bills.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
You suck the passion out of a person.
You really do.
And then you have a problem with the husk that remains, who is like, now I have to pay my bills. It's such a toxic relationship between the consumer and like whoever is offering a certain product. Like, because yes, there is entitlement from the consumer.
Sure.
Like, I am now entitled to your life because I have seen 6 stories that you have put up today. No, you're not. You are seeing what I want you to see.
Yeah.
I am not going to put up, and if no offense to people who do this, but like I'm not going to put up a story of me crying saying कि oh like आज मैंने अपना पैर मार दिया और मुझे दर्द हो रही है. Like fine, it's fine if you do that, but I'm not going to share those emotions with you.
ऐसा कोई करता है?
करते होंगे, I'm sure.
Okay.
I've seen stories of people crying, and that's fine. That's completely fine. Normalize crying as well. I'm all for it.
Beautiful.
And but again, don't think that then you are entitled to every emotion that I have, or you are entitled to every part of my life. Like, so people, one thing that people ask, and I think I don't know if women out there can attest to this or not. Are you married?
Oh, dude, please, yes.
If you are a certain age, are you married? तुमने क्या करना है? मैं तुम्हारे how is this relevant to you? Do you
or
think
any conversations that I'm having? Yes.
Like, do you think that if you slide into my DM saying hello madam, are you married? Like, how do you want me to respond to that? And if you say yes or no, उसके बाद do you have children? When are you having children? Do you intend on having children? I'm sorry.
देखो, I feel like we can alhamdulillah, there's a place of privilege where we can sit here and laugh about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the inherent misogyny in all of this is people being entitled to the agency of a woman.
Yeah.
आखिर में it's just the fact that एक औरत है तो मतलब फिर it's free for all, and the problem with that is it's not, and it's completely nonsensical for us to assume it is. And like you were saying before, you're only entitled to as much as I give you. और वो नहीं चाहिए है तो आप कहीं और जा सकते हो.
Exactly.
इसमें भी कोई इशू नहीं है. अल्लाह ताला रहम करेगा. कोई किसी के बगैर सब चल जाता है. Right? Like this person that we were talking about, who sent his army of whoever and made the videos. Like, he's obviously operating on, at least right now, a morality that is problematic because it's half-baked. It's not completely developed. And it's okay, right? Maybe someday he'll come to terms. Maybe someday he'll come to his senses and understand how much power or how much clout he actually has and how serious it is. Until then, people are going to have to be mindful, and people are going to have to remind him to be mindful. Ki yaar, dekho, you could damage something. You could hurt people with this. You know, because you're directing crowds. And the problem with that is eventually this is not Toronto. This is not Kuala Lumpur. It's Karachi. There's a lot of lawlessness here, right? And there's a lot of very serious, very problematic individuals that might be consuming your content. एहतियात करो, ख्याल करो, इतनी सी बात है. इसमें ज़्यादा complication की ज़रूरत नहीं है आपको. Irfan bhai recently put out a 42-minute video about you know how difficult it is for someone like him to just exist on these platforms and just do the work that he's doing. I was very heartening. I've had conversations with him, alhamdulillah, at length, And for the first time, even when he came on the podcast, उन्होंने इस हद तक नहीं बात की थी, where he just sat down and finally got into the details of how it's been for him.
Yeah.
But see, that to me represents someone who is mindful of his following,
Yeah.
of the immense clout that he directs and how serious it is.
Yeah.
The other individual in question, who, by the way, I would love to have him on as well,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
my whole goal is, inshallah, just to have conversations. Allah kare aisa ho. But the thing is, you need to understand age gap and differences and all those things. You need to realize कि किसी हद तक उसने गलतियां करनी है.
हाँ.
ठीक है ना, वो तो ठीक है, लेकिन हर किसी के जनरली भी इतना सारा क्लाउड हर किसी के हजम करने की बात नहीं होती.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I understand that, because again, like when I was growing up, like obviously I did a lot of embarrassing, problematic shit. I said a lot of problematic shit, but I wasn't an influencer then.
No.
And I was growing up and I was making my mistakes, and all of that is like confined to Facebook statuses that I can now go back and delete. You know,
Sure.
like Sajeer Shaikh is tired of the Pride March. Like, you know, like I can like now go back and be like, oh shit, like this is problematic. I can take this up, because for me, what is problematic is you're hurting somebody's sentiments.
Sure.
And you or like more than you're damaging yourself, because that obviously is problematic for yourself, but that's a conversation between you and yourself. It's like if you're मुझे नुकसान नहीं पहुंचाना किसी को. I shouldn't hurt somebody's sentiments.
That's it.
I shouldn't you know, say more than I have to.
Yeah.
And I should, whatever I'm saying has to be constructive. ठीक है?
Yeah.
So when you say shit like that and there's no accountability because you're 15 and Facebook, nobody cares if you have a Facebook or not. Obviously it's different. And it's different when you are 22.
22, 23, around that. Yeah.
And you have 2 million followers, and you're growing up, and you are also then in that bubble where you have 2 million people saying yes to you as well. Okay, like, yes, you're right. Yes, they're affirming what you're saying as well. Okay, like, yes, at 22, you are so right, because these misogynistic views that align with society's views are the right views that should exist.
I think he has misogynistic views.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think he's not just parroting what he hears at home?
I mean, it's still misogyny, right? I mean, it's learned misogyny.
It's latent, yes.
Yes.
It's latent.
But, and I think that obviously, if he ever chooses, I don't know why we're talking about him so much, but if he ever chooses to unlearn those things, great. I would love to see that video. I would love to cover that video.
Yeah.
I would love to have a conversation with him about that. But if he, but it's also very possible that may never happen.
Sure.
And
sure, yeah.
That's then his problem. And
of
that's
course. But the thing is, then masla ye na ki it's his problem, but then because of that immense clout, he becomes a societal problem.
Yes, exactly.
That's the beauty and the terrifying nature of social media.
Yeah.
Because someone like Hamza Ibrahim gets up and he's like, I'm going to make a song about rape. Right? That becomes an asset for society, for us. Right? But Hamza Ibrahim didn't have to do that.
Right.
And you know, that would have been fine. But Hamza Ibrahim could also have gotten up, and here's where it gets kind of dicey, right?
Yeah.
He could also have gotten up and be like, I'm going to make a song about sex, women, and drugs. And now society's worse off for it. That's the problem with clout, is then they're wielding this power and they're putting it out in this beautifully packaged way, and not everyone is going to engage with this stuff critically. In fact, most people, because it's such beautiful content, their critical faculties would simply be disabled. Or wo sirf they're going to consume it wholesale.
Yeah.
Right? So where people, Patangir also came out recently with a beautiful message for creators. I think that was beautiful, right? So there are creators who will take stock of their clout, who will take stock of their position and create accordingly.
Yeah.
You know, जो सारा Gaza Strip में हो रहा है, वो सारी चीज़ें जो हैं, उसके बारे में people have done so much.
Yeah.
But there will also be people who just won't be mindful.
Absolutely. And then they should be okay with being constructively criticized for it, as opposed to
ये कैसे हो सकता है भाई? ये तो
as opposed to lashing out at people and sending, because it's so at the end of the day it's so counterproductive to what they're doing, right? Like, I mean, they don't see it, but it is like Sure, you can go ahead and like make a mess of society using the cloud that you have. You go ahead and do that, but then that's on you, right? That's like shit on your hands.
Yeah.
And when you look back, and let's say that you do have this like
epiphany
कि oh shit, मैंने ये चीजें की हैं. You then have that legacy of damage that you left behind, and how do you undo that then? Because of course you can undo that. You can go like 5 million followers के साथ आप वही चीजें unlearning those things. You can talk about that, but for that period of time, the damage that you did, the people that you hurt, that stays.
Yes.
And that's on you.
Yes.
And so then be okay with being criticized for it.
Yeah, that's it then, right? Just be okay with people engaging with it how they will.
Yeah.
Pata nahi yaar, like I honestly do think at some point I would love to have him on. I think I would love to have most people on just to talk to them. I think people who are for the Aurat March, people who are against the Aurat March, people who are for the blasphemy laws, people who are against it, all of them, as long as they don't threaten, any of them threaten to kill me, like please, I'm just trying to talk.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm willing to listen.
Yeah.
But
they most likely will do that.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That there is the problem. Allah Rahm kare.
Yeah.
What do you say? ये मुझे अभी भी दिमाग में आया. There's lots of actresses. I'm not going to name anyone. No, I'm not going to name anyone.
Okay.
There's lots of actresses that buy followers.
Yeah.
उसका क्या scene है?
करते हैं. हाँ, मतलब करते हैं.
But have you ever called someone out?
I mean, you can tell, right? So, like, if without being very specific, if
Don't
somebody,
be specific at all.
yes, if somebody has a following of X million people, and then
2 million.
X million, and then you see the engagement, and then you see
200 likes.
you see कि आप live. So when you go live with somebody who has like a good like organic following, you can tell. And and when you go live with somebody who doesn't, you can also tell.
Yes.
So when you see that happening, and then the person like very मासूमियत में बोलते हैं कि यार ये ज़्यादा लोग नहीं देख रहे. I'm like हाँ, ज़्यादा लोग नहीं देख रहे. And like there's this moment where we just look at each other and we're like, yeah, okay. But of course, I don't get buying followers. I don't get I don't know if because I don't know if Mango Buzz has done this. I doubt that they have, because it's taking us forever to grow our Instagram page, and वो बहुत मेहनत लग रही है मेरी खुद की. But and the engagement is decent. So but I don't understand, because again the thing is कि मैंने I think वकार ज़का ने एक दफ़ा ये बोला था in one of his many tech videos कि like it hurts you in certain ways, like, and I forgot what he was saying because I was.
Waqar Zaka is brilliant. No? He's just repackaged himself like 15 times.
Waqar Zaka is low-key my friend.
Yeah, he's gangster.
He's great. He's very. If you ask him a question, he will explain things to you in great detail, and he does not hold back. So
here's what's interesting, right? You were saying about the other person growing up in an age of social media. Waqar Zaka has had to do a lot of growing up in legacy media.
Yeah,
that's powerful too, right?
That's true. Waqar Zaka is also, as much as people dislike him or choose to dislike him, he. And there's some things I don't agree with what he does.
Yeah.
But to stay relevant in that age and then to also be relevant on digital, I think it's insane. I think he's brilliant. I think उसने Living on the Edge type का show digital age में चलाया Champions के नाम से, and the engagement was crazy. Like it was crazy. Like he essentially was like, I'll take Big Boss but make it TikTok, and like I'm not gonna lie, I watched that.
Sure.
Like it is good.
If it's good content, it's good content.
It's good
what are you
content. And so here's what's interesting, right? I love it when people use sort of trick people into getting knowledge, ठीक है? Which is what Waqar Zaka does.
Yes.
So if you've watched his TikTok reactions pure, he'll start off with a reaction because he has to do that, right? Because TikTok was trending then. And then he'll talk about crypto or whatever he wants to talk about. Do I necessarily care about what he has to say about crypto? Maybe not.
But it's educational.
It is, exactly. It's educational. I'm learning something because I've clicked on that video. अब मैं बैठ के देख रही हूँ. अब मैं 2 मिनट बाद चेक आउट कर गया मेरा माइंड और मैं देख रही हूँ पूरी 5 मिनट की वीडियो. So inadvertently, I end up learning something, and I think that's great. And I asked him about this also, and he was just like, "Aapko hi pata hai karna hota hai," like, you know. And I think the way he does content is very interesting because he's always trying new things. And for him to not have given up at this time, because let's face it, Waqar Zaka does get a lot of hate.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
For him to not have given up at this point in time, I think, is very interesting. He's going fighting court cases and like crypto ke liye lad rahe hain, and he's going fighting for like the education system. Pata nahi koi I think kitabein thi computer science ki for metric ke students, and he's like going and like trying to get the syllabus change, and a lot of it goes unnoticed, you know. Like he'll send me something, he'll be like, "Hey, yaar, is pe kuch likh de." Even I know that like if I write something on it, nobody's gonna want to read it. And I'm like, look, I appreciate your efforts and whatnot, and it's great that you're doing this. I'm really sorry that as media organizations, there's not enough interest for us to cover this, but you're doing a great job behind the scenes. And yeah, so I think that when it comes to Waqar Zaka, it's great that he's still relevant, and I forgot what my original point was.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
how
what did we
here,
start with?
But yeah, he's a beautiful human being.
Yeah.
I suppose we can.
Yeah.
just move on from that. Oh no. Fake bot.
Yes.
And he was like,
so,
it's problematic.
Yes, it's problematic. So I think eventually, long run mein, all it's going to do is hurt your engagement, and I don't understand why people do it. ठीक है यार, आपके पास अगर नहीं है followers, I get it, like you need to show agencies को numbers दिखाने होते हैं.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
like,
it, right?
Yeah, like I get it, you have to. But I'll give you an example, right? So there's an actor friend of mine that, again, I will not name, and he does not have the kind of following that, even though he's one of the people who, like, if I take his name, everybody knows him, and he's been around forever. He's been doing a fantastic job.
Has he featured in any prominent
He
productions?
has.
Can you name one?
No, I can't. I'm not gonna be specific. But because again, this includes details of a project he's working on. But so he's a known name, and he doesn't have like itni badi following on Instagram specifically, because he's not a very like tech savvy person and whatnot.
Sure.
But the fact is that when he goes to, and when he gets a project, he gets the pay he deserves. Because he knows how to ask for it. He knows that he's been around long enough. And I feel like there's something there, right? कि like अगर उसके पास वो following नहीं है, but his work is good, and people know that his work is good, and he's still getting that. Like, why are we chasing numbers so much? I get it. It's like हो गया वो थोड़ा number oriented.
Yeah.
But it's I don't understand it.
So the argument for that is your friend, the way to, like, if you were to go the route of your friend. Too much time, way too much time to build your portfolio to the point where now, okay, I will ask for what I am worth, right? Versus, I have 3 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah,
you want to take me in an ad? Like what happened with Dananir?
Yeah, that's also true.
And Dananir, beautiful. Yeah. I hope she uses this opportunity to the best of her ability. I really do.
And I think she is. Like, she's been very vocal about a lot of things. I think that I think what happened with her was crazy.
Ridiculous.
I think it's like I think it's insane. Like, when I first saw the video, I didn't think itni viral hogi, because I was like, it's a girl, like matlab sahi hai. It's a funny video.
Yeah.
And my main concern was कि जब ऐसी videos आती है ना, तो एक मतलब बहुत elitist classist take आ जाता है कि, oh, like, let's make fun of the way she's talking. You know, like, because if it was not her saying it, ठीक है? If it was a Nimra Ali saying it.
Who's Nimra Ali?
Nimra Ali was the one, you know, जो बीच में viral हो गई थी, जिसने एक बहुत ही chirpy interview दिया था. She gave a very chirpy interview, then she gave like a series of very chirpy interviews. Like, very fun, nice person, but like obviously not from the same socio-economic class as Danani, okay? So if, let's say, Nimra Ali was to say that, the point of conversation would probably have been different, you know, because that is exactly what happened when Nimra Ali did give that interview, right?
You're saying she'd be made fun of instead of laughing with her.
Yeah, you would be laughing at her as opposed to with her. That ends up happening. And I think, so my main concern was that when the video came out. But then it went viral, and then Yashaj Mukhate covered it, and I was just like, holy shit.
Dude, that guy?
I love him. I love him.
Oh my goodness,
Oh my God, I love him.
Goodness.
First, it's so much. Like,
he's very talented.
Yes,
I think.
yes, he is.
Very
And
good.
to take something that is just like words, and then to like matlab, it's also so innovative in terms of content, right? Like I love it. I think his all of the memes that he's made have been amazing.
Yeah, so far beautiful.
Yeah,
Yes,
and I'm waiting for him to find something. Have you seen that one, the Tuada Kutta Tommy Sada? I love that. Oh my god, I keep seeing like I'll be sitting at night, right? And randomly like Tuada Kutta, like it'll just come to my mind.
You know what I'm waiting for. You know when what's that lady's name? The one who said Eid pe koi jhappiyan nahi hongi, koi pappiyan nahi hongi.
Oh yeah,
the lady, yeah, she minister.
I don't know her name.
Firdaus Ashik Awan.
Yeah.
I don't have the kind of following or the kind of reach to reach our friend, but if he could make one of that.
I mean, he should have though. I mean, अब तक तो बना. I feel like उसको भी लोगों ने पता है eventually उसके तरफ भी बहुत सारा hate आने लग गया. Like people are like ये हर चीज में घुस जाता है. उसका काम है. उसको घुसने दो.
Yeah, I think a lot of people engage in recreational outrage. A lot of people or recreational criticism. A lot of people literally want to say this to you or say something mean to you for the sake of saying something mean to you.
Yeah.
And they operate the way they do because of the lack of consequence.
Yeah.
And because of the anonymity that social media affords them.
Yeah.
Calling you whatever they've called you is very, very inappropriate. In fact, to the point that they would almost, I would hope at least, that they would receive immediate consequence in person. In society, right?
Yeah.
But on social media,
yeah,
Shani Night King 57
exactly
said whatever.
Exactly. You know? With social media, so before Mango Bars, I used to write op-eds for Express Tribune, right?
Okay, cool.
And op-eds का ये होता है कि they never really make it to the main page, and you're just like, अच्छा, I'm like मेरा नाम है Tribune में, that's great.
Yeah. I write for the Tribune.
Yes, exactly, right? So you can flex like that even though you don't really write for the Tribune, like low-key. But I remember एक article था, so उस वक्त I was trying to find my voice in terms of like what I wanted to do, and I didn't know what a feminist was, but I was one. Like I didn't understand what a feminist was because
How old were you?
I think I was 17, 18.
Okay, yeah, you figuring it out, yeah?
Yeah, so I was figuring out a lot of things, and I was like कि मुझे पता नहीं है ये क्या है, but ये मेरे thoughts हैं. So I put them on paper, and I was like, what it's like to be a woman in Pakistan. And even by that time, like by 17, 18, you've been catcalled enough times, you've been harassed enough times, you've been like, there's so much shit that goes on that you know what the experience is like, right? So I wrote about that, and it was like वो मैंने लगा दिया, and I sent it to them, and I was just like, yeah, like somebody will read it, somebody won't read it. They put it on their Facebook page.
Okay, cool.
Great. I was like, and उस वक्त my measure of how great a piece was doing, because I didn't have any analytics, I was like, how many people are engaging with it, the comments and
views
likes
and all that stuff. Yeah.
So like within a few hours it had like around 2,000 likes or something.
Wow,
and like people were commenting. I was like, chalo comments padhte hain. Big mistake. So all the comments were like so I had written about being catcalled. But I hadn't gone into a lot of detail. I had written about certain things, and people were like, if you are saying this about Pakistan, then you should be raped. And I'm just like, what? And after that, I shit you not, after that, like, I got so many DMs saying, I hope somebody beheads you. I still remember there was so मैं उस वक्त बहुत मतलब, like I said, I was a very aggro child, right? Like I was like कि अब ये मुझे ये सब भेज रहे हैं. By that time, I think I had started freelancing at Mango Bus, so I was like, let's make an article out of this. So I took all of that hate and I was like, let's make an article out of this. Also, there was this campus program, Mango Bus ka, and I was the moderator of this campus site where it was students interacting with each other. So उधर मैंने कुछ भी नहीं, just like living, existing, you know, yeah, like just being a mod, like an unknown mod. And they're like, you are that girl from Mango Pass, and I was like, yeah. They're like, okay. The next day, Twitter DMs me, this is going to get a little graphic, so trigger warning, but like somebody was like, I hope some Taliban rapes you, cuts off your head, then fucks your head. And I was like, who has this much anger for a 17, 18-year-old? Like, and I saw that, and us waqt bhi I was just like, ye content hai. But like, but
Come on, man.
But like, and मैं बहुत बेशर्म हूँ इन मामलों में. मैंने बनाया उसके बारे में article. Because the thing is, if what else can I do except weaponize that? Like, what
There's
I mean,
nothing else. There's
yeah,
nothing
like, what
else,
am I supposed to sit and feel bad? And feel like, oh shit, like maybe this person like, no, he's not right. Like, fuck that person for saying that.
He's not right. But what Irfan Bhai highlighted in his video, absolutely not right. Is he gonna try it?
Yeah,
that's the problem.
So again, just building on this, right?
Yes.
तो अब ये मतलब 18 years की age से I was like, अच्छा अगर आप internet पे हो तो आपको गालियाँ पड़ेंगी, which is why now when somebody calls me, again sorry for the words that I'm using, रंडी गश्ती whatever, जब जो बोलते हैं मुझे आके, I don't mind as much.
For what reason?
I don't know. I don't know. Like one.
I don't understand. देखो मेरी बात सुनो. Either you have now, we've been speaking for about 2 hours or whatever.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Now either you've duped me and I have no understanding of what people are, or you're just a normal person talking about some things. Why call you these things? And so then mera jawab wohi hota hai, it's recreational.
Yeah.
They don't have anything else going on in their life,
Absolutely.
unfortunately.
Absolutely.
That's what it is.
Absolutely. So, and it's not just me, right? Like with me, with my measly following of 5,000 followers, it's not me. It's also, if you go to Myra Khan, let's take this example. Myra Khan protest पे कि दुपट्टा क्यों नहीं पहना बहन, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
उसने वो protest पे गई. Sorry.
It's all right.
Oh,
okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
वो protest पे गई है. अगर वो नहीं जाती तो आपने बोलना था कि आप protest पे क्यों नहीं गए. अब वो गई है, वो जीन्स में भी नहीं गई, वो शलवार कमीज पहन के गई है. आप उसको बोलो तुमने दुपट्टा क्यों नहीं पहना.
Yeah, देखो, the problem is again, she's Myra Khan.
Yeah.
और public property है. और मेरा बात करना एक तो फर्ज भी है और हक भी है.
Yeah.
It's really not more complicated than that. I think when it comes to that stuff, and I think Joe Rogan said it best. He was like, the only mistake you would ever make is to read the comments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if someone wants to give you some, I don't know how people would get in touch. अभी तक अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मेरा ऐसा कोई सीन नहीं है. तो मेरे जितने भी लोग, ज़्यादातर लोग आते हैं, whoever messages me on YouTube or in the DMs, ज़्यादातर ऐसे ही होते हैं. ज़्यादातर they're just people who are wanting to get in touch with me, wanting to just say something nice or suggest something, you know. But अभी आप सोचो, even at like whatever 10,000, which is a big deal for me, alhamdulillah, लेकिन even at 10,000 there's people that will come and be like, you should do it like this. I'm like,
yes, sure.
Yes, cool.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I should do.
Yeah, of
is
course.
do it like how you want me to do it.
Yeah, of course.
But हाँ, कौन सी protest की बात कर रहे हो आप?
जो पैलेस्टाइन के लिए हुई थी, press club.
Right.
Again, like look at the context, right?
Well,
like,
yeah, exactly. She showed up for a cause. Just think about the cause, nahi?
Yeah, नहीं, दुपट्टा नहीं पहना. Obviously, she derailed the entire cause by not wearing a dupatta.
Yes.
But so it's just that ridiculous, I feel, and I feel like we also. I've complained so much about trolls. Like I complain about this a lot in general. Not because, like, again, like when I think about it, when I sleep at the end of the day, it doesn't bother me that somebody's calling me this. Like it genuinely, it should. I
It really shouldn't.
I mean,
as long as it's not a threat to your security.
Yeah.
मैं यही बोल रहा हूँ.
Yeah. So अब जब थोड़ी चीज़ें change होने लग गई हैं, in the sense के where there's like I'll give you an example. अभी जो हमने एक podcast की थी शहजाद के साथ, we talked about औरत march and it was a great discussion. But then उस वक्त औरत march के साथ क्या हुआ था कि you know what happened with औरत march recently, right? Like वो where people doctored a video and then
that was scary.
Yeah,
Allah maaf kare.
Exactly. So when you take something as serious as that, and my voice is breaking because I don't even like wanna like talk about it that much. But like when you take something like that and you're very I'm very pro औरत march, right? Like and I'm very pro औरत march and we were talking about औरत march and shortly after somebody जब वो video आई थी, somebody either DM'd Shahzad or said this on Twitter where they were like ये सब are doing blasphemy and then like you should behead all of these people and like the thing is कि ये सीधा behead पे पहुंचते ना. And the thing is this has happened before, even where we this happens way too often, like when like my pictures have been taken, blown up, and people are like, this is somebody who does this and like this person should be beheaded, and it's very unnerving when that happens because it's fine if somebody's coming into my DMs and saying, this should happen, but it's different when you are circulating that to with a following of 4,000 people. Like, अगर आपके पास उतने followers हैं, and you're circulating that saying that this person is this.
And where that following comes from.
Exactly.
If even one of them.
Yeah.
क्योंकि देखो again, this is the problem ना जो हम पहले भी बोल रहे थे. These people don't have anything going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They don't have purpose.
Yeah.
And that's a tragic existence. It's not my problem though. Allah mujhe maaf kare. Now I'm going to sound privileged or whatever. Your tragedy does not legitimize violence against me.
Exactly.
It's that simple.
Exactly.
Right? You don't have a lot going on for you. I hope Allah Miya aapko और हम सबको अपने जनाब से करम बरसाए हम सब के ऊपर. Having said that, just because you don't have something going on for you, just because you're not comfortable or that I've been given more for whatever reason that Allah Miya saw fit, does not mean that you commit violence against me, does not mean that it is legitimate. It does not mean any of these things. Yeah. I'll tell you a simpler story.
Yeah.
A nicer story, something that's a little lighter.
Yeah.
My sister, my sister and my brother were craving donuts.
Okay.
As you do.
Yeah.
This time it wasn't Happy Donuts, it was O Donuts.
Okay.
और हमने instead of using Food Panda, we used Cheetah. ठीक है? Cheetah was another app, or Cheetah, they were like, get it, ठीक है? तो अब देखो ना, इसमें देखो आप मुझे बताना गलती किधर है. So this person, ऐसे होता है, I live a little far away, ऐसे होता है कि they call you.
Yeah.
उस पे पहली गलती क्या की, मेरी बहन ने अपना नंबर दे दिया.
हाँ.
और ये मैं बाकायदा बाद में when I started talking to her, I realized what I was saying, and I was like, and she's obviously much better versed in all of these things than I am, mashallah say. And she was also like, this is very interesting that you think these are mistakes. We think, she agreed that these were mistakes. And we were like, these are not mistakes, but well, anyways. Her first mistake, उन्ने अपना number दे दिया.
Okay.
Her own cell phone number. And she's a woman, ठीक है. बंदे ने phone किया. Phone करा, बोला रास्ता नहीं मिल रहा है. My sister picks up the phone. वहीं से बदतमीजी. ठीक है? Her second mistake was when he called, she didn't give the phone to me or my brother. That's a mistake. खाना उनने खाना है, पैसे उनने देने, मंगाया उनने. और जो है उनकी दूसरी गलती हो गई कि as being a woman उनने फोन उठा लिया. अब वो बंदा बदतमीजी करते जा रहा है. ठीक है? लाइक कहाँ बुला रही हो, ये वो बाकायदा गलीज बातें करते जा रहे हैं. ठीक है? And I wasn't around, but my brother was, and he was listening to this. So when he finally showed up, my brother was like, listen, I'm going to eat your face.
Yeah.
Right?
Rightly so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat your face if you say that
Yeah.
to her ever again.
Yeah.
उस वक्त तो ज़ाहिर है, उस वक्त सबकी बंद हो जाती है.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. ये मर्दानगी जो होती है ना, यहाँ तक ही
Yeah.
रहती है. अल्लाह ताला हम सबको अपने सम्मान में रखे. अल्लाह ताला किसी के ऊपर ये नौबत ना लाए इंशाल्लाह.
Yeah.
My brother pays him.
Yeah.
Right? That's like, alright, you paid him, cool. Paid him, takes the stuff, lets him leave. That man sends my sister voice messages.
Okay.
कि किस चीज़, मैंने तो बदतमीजी की नहीं थी आपसे, ये किस चीज़ का भरम है, और ये जो गरूर है, ये जो भरम है, ये आपको ले डूबेगा. Right?
Okay.
And throughout all of this, when my sister finally told me, throughout all of this, she was thinking कि उनने कुछ गलत किया है. But she'd done nothing wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just how men behave in this country.
Yeah.
And especially this city.
Yeah.
Right? इस पे मुझे आप बताओ, the immediate consequence should be a beat down. I'm sorry. You know, but there's nothing else. अगर मैं इस किस्म की बदतमीजी किसी भी औरत के साथ कर रहा हूँ, तो मुझे चपेटे पड़नी चाहिए यार. मतलब, I don't know what else to say to this.
Yeah.
And फिर subsequently, you know, number block किया और आप क्या कर सकते हो?
Yeah.
But just that's, and then obviously we got in touch with Cheetah, and Cheetah was like, no, we'll take care of it. They
Yeah.
were very proactive. They're like, we'll take care of it. He's gone. But the thing is, getting rid of him isn't the solution.
Yeah.
The solution is to let all of them realize कि सिर्फ क्योंकि औरत है, उसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि
Yeah.
आपकी बकवास बैठ के सुनेगी.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And I get quite intense about this stuff, even though, मतलब, you know,
Yeah.
I'd like to think I'm an easygoing person.
Yeah.
But ये कुछ चीजें होती हैं इनका मजाक नहीं है यार.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think so. When you were like, yeah, this was her first mistake, this was her second mistake. It didn't even register like as a mistake to me, right? Because food panda पे मेरा number है.
Yeah.
मुझे कोई call करता है. I'm a little tired of explaining my address. But
Who else is going to pick up your phone but you, dude?
Exactly,
You know?
right? Like and the thing is, when things like this happen, right, and these things happen.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that your sister should have done this either, because like this is my thing. My mother is a Punjabi.
Yes.
Okay. So it comes, certain things come with the territory, which is anger comes with the territory.
Yes.
So whenever somebody has misbehaved, we've been taught to give it back to them. And
But my sister had recently moved back from Canada. अब वो भी माशाल्लाह से.
I'm not saying she should have done that. I think the only thing which I just feel bad that she thought she was wrong, because she wasn't.
That's it.
At all.
She was so tentative, and I was like, यार.
Yeah, like. ये
What?
इसने कोई level की gaslighting की है boy ने, लेकिन.
आप लेकिन सोचो ना, आप सोचो कि my sister is a published author.
Yeah.
Right. She's worked for like multiple international brands.
Yeah.
Abhi bhi she's doing work with the like a restaurant and stuff. She's just an accomplished what's it called, online personality, and like you're just winning, dude. Mashallah say, and you're going to doubt yourself because this guy. What?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, वो तो like इतनी level की gaslighting की है, like he's just like, no, you're wrong. Like no, like आपका गुरूर आपको like where, like I don't get.
मैं आपका चेहरा खा जाऊंगा. आप समझ नहीं रहे हो.
Yeah.
And throughout all of this, बाद में we had a good laugh about it. कि मापू, like I call her Mapu. Her name is Usha, but I call her Mapu. I'm like, Mapu, ये हमने क्या किया? And she was just like, yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we did.
Yeah. It's also interesting that like the idea of mardangi is like वो आप lord over सिर्फ औरतों के ऊपर कर सकते हो, because when it comes to another man, then it's like, oh shit, like
then it's a fight.
Again, like I'll give you another example. Like if some guy is hitting on a girl and the girl's like, no, he's like, nahi, but like, you know, he'll show a little persistence, and she'll be like, oh, I have a boyfriend. वो respect boyfriend के लिए आता है कि like you have a boyfriend, तो like I should back off. कुछ होते हैं गली जो बोलते हैं, oh, like goalkeeper है तो whatever, like I can still shoot my shot, whatever. वो कुछ लोग होते हैं, but like usually
what?
You know, like some men are like, oh, he's your boyfriend, not your husband. Yeah, you know, like you can still like score and whatnot. I don't get the.
No.
But usually if a man backs off, it's like because he's like, oh, another guy's property, you know, like, oh, another guy is dealing with her right now. So it's very interesting to me कि वो respect औरतों को कभी extend नहीं होती. And yeah, like what is it? What should it take for a woman to like get that kind of respect? Like,
I'll tell you what, मेरे पास तो जवाब कब से है. मैं तो जो है, and I think this is a beautiful place to end this wonderful conversation with. I'll tell you what it is. An immediate and absolute threat of violence. That's it. और इतने सारे लोग मेरे से लड़े हैं इस बारे में, इतने नाराज हुए मेरे से कि ये किस किस्म की बात है, ये भी औरत को खुद को करना पड़ेगा. I had the wonderful Prey Maiman on. I tried to convince her. I can't remember. I tried to convince someone else as well. They were just like, क्या? I was like, हाँ यार. Saif Jatoi was on. Tried to convince him. He goes off as South Asian Sai on YouTube. I tried to convince all of them कि भाई देखो, it's this simple. This will stop the second a man will look at a woman, will think कि मैं ये कुछ कर लूँगा. क्यों करते हैं? Because they think it's right or wrong, but because they think there's no consequence, na? There's no consequence. Because what is an absolute deterrent to harassment or khuda na khasta rape or any of those things is not the severity of the punishment. It's the conviction rate. Right? It's the certainty that I will be caught.
Yeah.
Right? And Pakistan mein, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's a crime against humanity. Our conviction rate is a crime.
Yeah.
Right? So then what do? Until inshallah our judicial infrastructure, whatever, you know, gets itself sorted out, Allah ke hukum se ho jayega inshallah. What is required is for any man to always be afraid of the threat of absolute violence. I don't know. Will that come with owning guns? Will that come with martial arts training? I don't know. मुझे नहीं पता. But it's this simple कि मैं अगर उसको छेड़ा है मुझे गोली मार देगी. फिर कोई नहीं छेड़ेगा.
But as a woman, like,
Yeah.
and I know that was a great place to end the podcast, but as a woman, I have to say that when something like that happens, right? There again, like you go into this like you can freeze and you cannot do it, react at all.
Yes. Fight, flight, fright.
Exactly,
yeah.
fight, and or you can get scared,
Yes.
which again then you can freeze.
Yes.
And more often than not, that is what ends up happening.
Because you're taught to, na?
Exactly. Yeah. So it'll come with unlearning all the stuff that you have been taught about how to react in these situations. Like, it's so normalized, right? Like, if you go up to somebody and you're like, "Ki mere saath ye hua tha," they're like, "हाँ, मेरे साथ भी ये हुआ था." It's almost like it's weird to say this. It's almost like everyone's gone through it, like at some point or
That's
the
the
other.
great power of the Me Too movement, na?
Yeah.
उसको भी अब खैर.
Yeah, it would have been great.
Yeah.
If we care, but yeah. So when as a woman you face that, and then suddenly somebody comes up to you and they're like, "Oh, but the onus is on you. Ki like, you have to show violence." Like, "Ben, mujhe nahi ho rahi violence. Sorry, I'm sorry."
No,
I keep
it's okay.
saying
It's
this,
okay.
but
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
But-
देखो, हाँ. So that was the response that I got from other
Yeah.
women as well. कि यार
Yeah.
देखो, नहीं हो रही. So the unlearning will come when you learn to use the weapon. Because my general inclination is to freeze,
yeah.
right? From my childhood traumas or whatever,
Yeah.
I also freeze. How you unlearn that is by developing muscle memory.
Okay.
So अगर कोई pistol combat training club खोल रहे हैं तो
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah.
There it
Okay.
is. But just that, because देखो उससे कम पे ना, and this is quite unfortunate because we were meant to be a land of peace and we were meant to be modeled after
Yeah.
Islamic traditions and Islamic fundamental tenets which hold human life as the most sacred thing.
Yeah.
Right? यहाँ पे we have a consequentialist morality. So then we only look at the consequences. तो आप ऐसे भी देखो जाहिर है, and this is a function of privilege as well, कि अगर खातून वीगो में से निकल रही है तब कोई नहीं छेड़ता. वही खातून अगर रिक्शे में से निकलेगी तो छेड़ेंगे. It's consequence and it's nothing else. You don't actually respect either one of those people.
Yeah.
आपको सिर्फ बदतमीजी करनी है और आप सिर्फ ये देख रहे हो can I get away with it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately जो हमारी law enforcement है, they've been a little lax in
Yeah.
Sindh at least. और अल्लाह करेगा वो बेहतर हो जाएंगे इंशाल्लाह. But you can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's happening to everyone.
Yeah, and far too much has happened already.
Far too much has happened already. And so the Christian girl,
Yeah.
come on dude. Come on. Like, I mean, you just...
Apparently, I don't want to derail this, but apparently that was fake news.
What?
The Christian girl, apparently that was fake
Oh,
news.
alhamdulillah, that's good.
Jibran Nasir posted about it. I think some publication just randomly put out that news.
Oh, dude.
Which is horrible on
That's
its
horrible,
own.
yeah.
Like, because then you take away from the actual conversation.
Yeah, because
But-
stuff
yeah.
like that's actually happening and that's horrible.
Exactly,
And that
exactly.
publication should then be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah.
But that makes me feel good though.
Yeah, like,
Feel
I'm
she's
glad it
maybe,
didn't happen.
alhamdulillah, yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it's not happening and it derails from the conversation. So, yeah.
Again, yaar, views ke bouquet.
Yeah.
Clicks ke bouquet. Clicks ke bouquet.
Clicks ke bouquet.
Clicks ke bouquet. Sajeer, this has been great.
Thank you.
I think this is wonderful. I think Mango Bars is doing wonderful work. I think whenever you have time next, let's do it again, inshallah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Plug in आपका भी और Mango Bars का भी Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter.
Okay. Yeah,
But-
just Mango Bars and Sajeer Shaikh. If you don't know how to spell my name, he'll probably tag me.
I will probably tag you.
Yeah.
I'll think about tagging you.
Okay. Please.
Please on Twitter, Twitter, Instagram,
It's
Facebook,
the same everywhere.
everywhere.
Mango Bars and Sajeer Shaikh.
All right.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.